This is Alan with the Tune Army Baltimore. A gooner and a toffee walk into a bar. Decided to do a shit football podcast. You're listening to the DU Football Show.
I mean, it's the original and it's the best, and it's what we have to open with every year for this show.
Yeah, it might as well be.
I mean, we do have to keep your replacement in training. That's very important.
100%.
You know?
He needs to be trained up.
No, he doesn't need to be trained up. He knows what he's doing.
I don't think he does.
Does it better than you.
Nah, that's not
he
true.
Really does.
Not true.
Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Snub of my lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased preview of the 23-24 season of the English Premier League as told by a bunch of randos in a Zoom call and two common American schmucks. I'm your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, always on his phone, always texting somebody.
That's right.
My co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Best hair in the business. Still.
Well, you know, preseason's fucking over. It's
That's
time
right.
to be on our
It is
game.
fucking go time.
It is go time, baby. Are you ready?
What do you say? America, fucking go.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, on the ones and twos, producer Mel. Producer Mel, how you doing? Apparently, somebody forgot it's not the preseason anymore.
I know. I need to remember. Now that I have the power to unmute myself, it's strange. By the way, Jay
Yes.
says that if Jason doesn't show up, then call him and he'll fill in because he's quite Fulhamish.
Okay, love it. See, always getting it done, the Fulham crew, you know?
Always
Well,
getting it done.
just like the doctors, we'll virtually sign the cast.
We are recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. And we record live every Monday night, except for when producer Mel goes to Pink shows, and then we do it on Tuesday nights like tonight.
Yeah.
Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It is at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email.
Or, as I always like to say, you can just Zoom your happy ass in, which is the case with this bevy of idiots that are here today. Wave hi, everybody. How's it going? How's it going? Yeah,
This
very good.
foul jamboree that we've got going on here.
You know, it's just going to be 2 hours of everybody explaining why City's going to win another title. Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirits industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Yeah, Sam, you weren't ready for me to take a pot shot at you. That's okay. You'll choke and lose it anyways. Sam, what are we drinking today?
Some piece of shit whiskey out of Oregon. We have one of yours, actually. Westward Whiskey, the Milestone American Single Malt. This is a solera-aged whiskey. So you have whiskeys that are between 3 and 20 years old all in here. Also, why there's no age statement on this bottle. Actually hasn't been released yet. So we wanted to start with a bang. And part of the cool shit that we get to do in our jobs is... we kind of get stuff before it comes out sometimes. So
yeah,
this is what we have. It will end up running you somewhere around $250 on the shelf.
Solera cask, the way that works is you have new oak at the top, and then there's used oak as it goes down, and the bottom row is sherry, hence the Solera. And what you do is you basically continuously mingle all the different barrels together. And as long as the bottom level of barrels never goes below 50%, which of course they make sure it does not, you have the oldest molecule of whiskey and the youngest molecule of whiskey commingling together. And there is upwards of 20-year-old whiskey because Westward as a brand has been around for 20 years. Yep. And the other thing kind of worth mentioning, this is not at a barrel proof, and there's a reasoning behind that. 20-year-old whiskey.
Right.
You need to soften it out. It's going to be
Also very young whiskey.
Right. So you need to soften it out a little bit. This is the same thing that happened when we did the top 20 list from last year, the Middleton's 2022, which had 30-year-old whiskey in it. So that's going to be the case.
Absolutely.
So, Sam, first time tasting it. What do you think?
That's delicious. It's soft on the palate. A lot of caramel up front, actually, to be honest with you. Big time caramel. Does not drink like a Scotch would, which most of the American single malts that you've had given me on the show have drank more like Scotches than they have American whiskeys. This very much kind of bridges the gap between bourbon and Scotch, in my opinion. Obviously, you're not going to be able to try it for $250. You got to buy, commit to it. But it is fucking delicious.
It'll be
It's absolutely worth the money.
In my marketplace. It's already kind of been pre-sold because it's with the people that have partnered well with the brand so far and things of that nature. But there are some on-premise establishments who have used this in cocktails, things like that. They will get at least a bottle. So that means then that they can pour it by the glass. So there'll be an opportunity to try it that way as well. And Producer Mel, what do you think?
It's a little hot for my taste, but I do like the little bit of sweetness on the back end, and I could sip on this for a bit. I want some. Is it bad to want ice in this?
Not necessarily.
No. There was actually one of the whiskey groups that I was in. Somebody wanted to make it about themselves for a little bit, as groups are opt to do. And he kind of went into this whole diatribe about, oh, I'm so sorry, I offended people that I drink my whiskey neat. I'm so sorry. And I just put up a quote, and this is all my comment was: drink your whiskey the way you want to, Dave Pickerel.
Yeah.
If one of the greatest whiskey minds in the world tells you to drink whiskey however the fuck you want, drink it however the fuck you want. I mean, I'm going to look at you funny if you want to put ginger ale in this, but it's your goddamn glass. Do what you want with it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, now, if you want to put ginger ale in this, I'm going to look at you the same way I look at people that put pineapple in their pizza. Like, get fucked, mate.
That's
All right.
delicious. I don't know what you're up against.
But a little bit of water, a little bit of ice, not a problem with that. Come on.
All right.
But if you want to ruin cost per ounce, then that's on you.
Very good. Now, Mr. Graham, what do we always need to make sure we do?
Get ready for a feast of football.
There we go. He was waiting to use his props. And what else do we need to do, Mr. Graham?
Always remember to drink responsibly.
Cheers, kids. Yep. So, Mr. Graham, we start our 6th season of doing this show.
I know.
Next week,
Awesome,
little spoiler alert for everybody. Next week will be episode number 300 for us. So
yeah,
go fucking figure. That not only are there just people dumb enough to want to listen to us, there's actually people as well like you and I that still want to talk to each other each week.
Yeah,
and
fair.
she still fucking puts up with us.
Yeah, 6 years and 300 episodes.
Yep. Mr. Graham, a little intro into what the 20 for 20 is that we do every year.
Yeah, so basically this is just our general preview, just a very quick synopsis of all 20 clubs, what they expect from the season, how their closed seasons have gone, their transfer windows, any craziness around the club, which obviously we'll come on to with Wolves here, as we found out some breaking news right before we recorded. But
breaking news, they did something.
Yeah, not what you would expected, but just that kind of stuff. Basically, just going through how the summer has gone and how everything is expecting and shaping up for the upcoming season. And we like to do that with a bunch of our friends who we've found and come across over the years in one way or another. A lot of them through Twitter, to be honest, because you really couldn't find Brad in person. If you met him, you'd hate him. But
and so it begins.
Yeah. But the whole point is basically just to hear essentially straight from the horse's mouth, right? Just to hear straight from the supporters of those clubs. And what do you think, as a fan of that club, how your season's going to shake out?
And of course, as always, we don't have a city supporter, so we're just going to make fun of them. People always miss out, and normally we have little manifestos and fun things to say about them in general. So from the crew we have, we're going to enjoy ourselves and have a little bit of fun. Mr. Graham, I believe you get the ball rolling, don't you?
I do get the ball rolling with my tried and true leader over the last decade, Mr. Simon Torres, my friend, the president and CEO of the Charm City Gooners. Welcome. How are you today, sir?
Doing great. Good to be with y'all.
Awesome. Are you drinking or no?
I am. I'm not quite with the spirits. I decided that you guys might like a little hams action.
There you go.
From New Jersey.
Love me the cheap beer. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And spot. It's hitting the spot. Yeah, what better way to talk about Arsenal than drinking a nice whole hams?
Absolutely. So what have we done this year, my friend? Who have we lost? Who have we added? What's going on in the old transfer market?
So if you only look at the summer, we've brought in Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, Jurriën Timber, and speaking of breaking news, David Raya. Apparently the deal is final today to bring him over from Brentford. Sorry, Jane. If you go back since the last time we talked about Arsenal, they had a pretty active January window too, bringing in Jakub Kiwior, Jorginho, and Trossard. In terms of exits, the biggest one is Granit Xhaka. Wanted to go to Bayer Leverkusen. I think this was the deal that he had with Arteta when he stayed, that eventually he'll be able to go back to Germany while he's still useful. And it's kind of bittersweet because Xhaka had probably his best year in an Arsenal shirt last year.
The best character arc in world football, one could say, over the, you know, if you take the 5 years as a whole.
From being completely booed off the pitch and getting the captain's armband taken from him to the kind of just flat out emotional leader he was for you guys this
last season. Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
His redemption arc was incredible, but he went out on it with a bang. He scored 2 goals against Wolves. Sorry, Danny, in his last game at the Emirates, his last game in an Arsenal shirt. Also breaking news somewhat, Matt Turner, USA #1, will be leaving, going to Nottingham Forest. I imagine that he'll be in contention mark for their #1 shirt. Austin Trusty is headed out as well. And then the big one that they're waiting for is Balogun, probably to either Monaco or to one of the Italian clubs.
I think Inter was in for him after things fell apart with Lukaku. But Inter, that'd be huge for him as a person and now the United States national team as well.
Agreed.
To have a first-choice striker playing in Inter Milan, I mean, that's massive, to be honest.
And then Pulisic making his way over to Italy as well.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, the departures, I mean, I think the one that hurts the most is Xhaka. It'll take time for either Havertz or for Declan Rice to settle into that left 8 role. And it kind of will be by committee. I think with Gabriel Jesus being out for at least the first month, you may see what we saw on Sunday in the Community Shield against City. Havertz was kind of a surprise start up top. I'm sure Hiram can tell you all about Havertz's trials and tribulations as a number 9. But he actually played pretty well. He pressed and he led the line. He could have scored. He got on the other end of some good chances. So I think this is an Arsenal team that is on the up and up. They get younger, they get better. It's the narrative around Arsenal, of course, by non-Arsenal fans is that, well, they bottled it again. Well, you can't have it both ways. They couldn't bottle it and City be one of the best teams in the history of English football winning the treble. I think Arsenal punched above their weight last year. I think this may be a little more representative of where they are. They got, like I said, they got younger, they got better, and I think they're really ready to push City. We can talk about it in predictions if you like, but I have a good feeling about this team.
Well, you also couple the fact that you guys are playing Champions League again.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, you've played Europe, and Europe's one thing, but it's not Champions League. Champions League is different. There's a lot of attention on Champions League.
We did it for 21 straight years. I mean, we remember.
Yeah, and then you didn't for 7?
5, I think.
Okay, very good. Lovely.
Calm down.
Lovely.
Counting. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons why Arteta has gone out and he's created genuine competitions at every single position now, including keeper.
But it's not even just that. It's general competition, yes, but it's versatile competition. So like Ben White can push both center backs.
Yeah, of course.
And then you have Timber and Tomiyasu pushing Ben White in his right back role. Mm-hmm. You have Havertz, who is now, can push Declan Rice in that number 8 position, but also push Jesus up front. There's versatile competition all over the pitch. It's excellent. We have 5 or 6 players almost for each of the front 4 spots if you include every position that every single person can play.
Yeah, and I think the real key and the unsung hero of the second half of the last season was Leandro Trossard for me. I watched him at Brighton. He terrified me. He scored against a lot of people on this Zoom's teams, and he came into Arsenal and he did not miss a beat. I think he can play all 3 positions across the front. You run into these problems where you have to find a spot for him, but who's he going to displace?
Who's he going to replace? Exactly. I don't mind him being a super sub. So moving on, last season, obviously Xhaka, huge, massive emotional leader, everything else, by all accounts, was still a massive leader in the dressing room despite having the captaincy taken off of him. What are our expectations for this season? Simon, now that the Manchurian Candidate is no longer around and Odegaard actually has to lead for himself?
I think Odegaard did a great job last year leading, actually. I think he's the kind of a quiet leader. He ended up with, I believe, 11 goals, 12 goals. And I think as Xhaka comes out, Declan Rice comes in. And I think Rice has that natural leadership quality. He was captain of West Ham for many years. So you have plenty of leaders on the team. It's just a question of how quickly this young nucleus can sort of coalesce into not only a title contending team in the Prem, but how well can they do in the Champions League. I think that's the real big test this year. Continue the progress. I mean, for as much talk as, Arsenal has eaten shit at the end of the last two seasons, they went from 8th to 5th to 2nd. That promotes a lot of learning, a lot of growing,
Absolutely.
some hard lessons. And I think this could be the year that they do it.
Yeah, fair enough. Is there anything you want to promote to round us out on the Arsenal segment, my friend?
Absolutely. If you are Arsenal in anywhere in Maryland, come join us at the Abbey Federal Hill in Baltimore. Charm City Gooners watches every match. Doesn't matter what time, doesn't matter what competition, we're there. We are, I don't remember, we're on Cross Street in Federal Hill. Great Arsenal supporters group. I also like to plug our charity, the Craig Willinger Fund, Baltimore-based charity that sends kids and young adults recovering from cancer or other serious illness to the soccer match of their dreams. Have sent young people to Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool, World Cups, U.S. national team qualifiers. CW Fund does a great job. And we have our annual foot golf tournament coming up on October 16th. Dear David Geckel, now of relegated Leeds, won it last year. So hopefully this group can provide some competition and unseat Geckel's snarky, smiling ass.
Geckel's done well to get a mention on this.
Yeah, he did. He worked himself into
To be
it.
relegated twice this
God,
summer.
not forgotten.
Very good. Very good.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you coming on as always, and good to talk to you.
Perfect.
Nice to see you, boys.
Real quick, just to say to anybody who's listening, as far as supporter clubs go, and I'll say this very freely and openly, Charm City Gooners is what we should all try to strive to be.
Yep.
They are a right fucking proper supporters club. I mean, they do it well. They come proper. Everybody's, I've been in that room before wearing this kit playing against them. And the room's always been, the right amount of ribbon and fucking with you and giving you a hard time, but also very welcoming and all just awesome people. So that is, I know you get enough pro Arsenal agenda and this is making your head fucking big.
Well,
but
it's not, but it is.
but
Thanks, boys.
it deserves to be said. That is for damn sure. Producer Mel, the floor is yours.
Hello, Villanista.
Her Highness, how the hell are you, ma'am?
Very good. Thank you very much. And just wanted to say thank you to the DU show for putting on an incredible tailgate. The Fulham fans and the Villa fans absolutely loved it. We had people from England who had only heard tales of tailgates and had an amazing time. We had people who now live in America and wanted their kids to experience a fully fledged tailgate. It was absolutely amazing. So thank you guys for all your effort and just for a great job. And, all the Villa fans loved it and thought you guys were epic.
Not to flex, but heard it was the best tailgate of the summer series.
It fucking was. It was
And
incredible. It was an amazing day.
Did it all by ourselves without any help from Fulham, and there's nobody here to dispute that.
That's so rude after his son's leg is taped together with popsicle sticks and duct tape.
I
You
know.
can't do that.
I know. So, Lindsay, how are you feeling about this upcoming season?
Actually, very, very excited. Very, very excited. And a lot of posts I see as well. A lot of Villa fans are very excited, and not in a cocky way, but just in a way that it feels nice to be a Villa fan right now, having gone through some struggles for a few years, and getting relegated, then getting promoted, and staying up. Very wildly, but feeling excited.
Do you think playing in Europe is going to be too much of a distraction for the rest of the season?
I don't think so, because I think what I'm seeing is Emery is making sure that he's building a team that, will be able to, so he can field players for Premier League, Cups, and Europe as well.
Good. And who are you most excited about that got brought in?
It's a really tough one, but I would probably say Diaby. Ooh, I want to dance with Diaby. I want to get a goal from Diaby. But honestly, all three.
That's not bad. That's all right.
All three signings, Tielemans, Torres, and Diaby are really exciting. But I think just kind of seeing Diaby's creativity and what he is capable of, I think that brings some excitement to the team.
And how do you feel like your close personal friend Tyrone Mings is prepared for this season?
Well, my close personal friend Mings, who touched me on my shoulder and on Friday night, and then on Sunday, he was walking over to the crowds, and once we called him, he was walking
to you. He was walking to you directly.
I think, like he said on Friday when, he kind of spoke, he mentioned that, hey, there's competition and he's ready for it. So Mings, he strikes me as someone who's quite humble. I think he handled, all the crap that Steven Gerrard threw at him, taking the armband away from him, benching him. I think he handled it very well. So I feel like he's got a very good head on his shoulders, and I think he loves the team. He loves the fans, as you can see what he did on Sunday when all the other players kind of just clapped us and walked off. He and McGinn were the only ones that came over, signed stuff. And apparently Mings had done that in Orlando as well, just spent time signing and selfieing. So I think he's up for it. He's up for the challenge.
All right. Anything you want to promote?
Of course, the Maryland Lions Club. We meet in Annapolis at the Dark Horse, thanks to Mel. And we're excited this Saturday. We're going to meet, and hopefully a few more Villanistas and a few villain men. I don't know what we call them, but
it would be and villain.
And villain, thank you. So, just really excited about that. So, for anyone who's watching and they're in the DMV area, you're always welcome to Annapolis. And and of course, a charity that we support here at the North American Aston Villa fans is Acorns, children's charity back home in Birmingham. And this year's annual meetup, Tom Hanks signed a shirt signed by Tom Hanks went for I think like $5,000 or $6,000. So
and you just snagged a pretty good item.
I did. So for those of you who are tennis fans, Dan Evans is a Brummy and a Villa fan. And for those of you who know Dan Evans, he can be a bit gruff at times. Last year, I waited for about 3 hours. He lost. So, of course, he didn't sign anything. But thankfully, I tracked him down and I'm like, please, can you sign my Villa shirt? It's for an auction. And he's like, okay, give it here. Quickly signed it and then ran off. But this year, he beat Francis Tiafoe in the quarterfinals. I'd already seen him earlier in the week. And I said, up the Villa, Dan, can I get a selfie? And he got a selfie with him and he half smiled. But this time he beat Francis Tiafoe. Thankfully, I was able to get like real courtside. And I was like, hey, Dan, I didn't even say like, congratulations, great job. I just led with, hey, Dan, do you have anything that you can donate for the Acorns auction? And I mean, without hesitation, he's like, well, I can give you this shirt here. It's a bit sweaty. I said, I don't care. Give it to me. He signed it. And I was like, thank you so much, Dan. He's like, yeah. Okay. I was like, thank you. And excellent job, by the way. So really excited. And then he went on to win the City Open.
Awesome.
So
very cool.
That's great.
A shirt with DNA on it. Do I need to say it?
Up, so.
Perfect.
Also, real quick, Acorns famously still helping Jack Grealish figure out how to read. Fucker.
And by the way, Mel.
Yes.
The villains are villainough, okay? They're villainough. They're villainough, damn it.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent. All right. Well, unfortunately, Zach could not join us tonight. Zach did join us the last time. Zach was the one who had a date, and I'm not going to begrudge a man an opportunity to go out on a date the last time, so he wasn't around for last year's one either. But we'll try again next year. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Bournemouth the Cherries. Big things is that they did part ways with their coach that kept them up, who I believe is now going to be the Wolves coach.
Potentially.
Yep. And so they did sign a new coach. And as far as what all they brought in Hamid Traore, who's a outside winger to kind of help with things.
From Sassuolo, yeah.
Yep.
From Italy.
Roman Favre is also who they brought in as well. And looking through here.
Please, Favre.
Okay, fine. Yeah, okay.
If you're going to say it sexy. The French language isn't there to be butchered, my friend. It's there to woo.
Graham, we already know this year I'm doing the drunken transfer recap. I'm already have problems with pronouncing names in the first place, and we're going to get me, because you blackout drunk is one thing. Me blackout drunk is a completely different
We might
thing.
have to start on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it might take a little while. So I would say kind of the big thing for Bournemouth, just a personal opinion, is that they're making the moves to try to stay, right? And
Yes.
they have, it's a very fine balancing act that they have to walk, because they're just next to now Luton Town, the smallest stadium in the Prem. And there's a budget you have to work with it. Now, there's good that there's new investment into the club, but it's still ultimately, you can't find yourself in a situation where if you go down, you then go all the way down because you threw all your money into trying to stay in the Prem.
$57.8 million so far, and then
Right.
I'm sure a loan fee, which obviously wasn't disclosed. So roughly $60 million they've spent on these players. That could have a lasting effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should they not stay up again?
I think their biggest problem for
Get Scott
them.
Parker back in there. Come on.
Yeah, well, he's fun to look at. The one thing I think that ultimately falls for Bournemouth is they were just so streaky last year. They went on a run at the beginning of the season. They looked great, and then they just plummeted bad. And then they had a little bit of streak just before the World Cup, plummeted again, and then got it together in the end and found themselves safe. You can't constantly have that, up and down roller coaster.
You could argue that's the normal, and this isn't even a dig. That's the old school Crystal Palace situation.
no, not
back
wrong.
in the day.
Not wrong, but I feel like they're probably safe because I think there are worse teams, but the sophomore slump for anyone who's just gotten promoted is real, and you see it happen every.
We saw Leeds.
You saw it with Leeds. You saw it with Sheffield, famously, when they came up and finished in the top 10 and then completely plummeted.
Yep.
Huddersfield Town stuck around the first year, got just demolished the next year. So that
started off this season pretty poorly as well under the old tutelage of Mr. Warlock.
Yeah, very true. Very
shame.
true. So let's go ahead and move on to the next team, and that is going to be Brentford. And typically, our most devoted supporter of the show, Jane, who typically calls us at like 5 o'clock in the morning in fucking Australia.
Upside down land.
She is unable to join us because she's currently traveling. For those of you who don't know, Jane is a very big name in the world of Australian
business. Yep.
wine, and is a consultant and works with farms on sustainability and all that kind of stuff. And so she is constantly all over the country, and she just wasn't able to join us today, unfortunately.
She's got some shrimps on the barbie.
No.
Not doing that.
What she does have coming her way very soon.
Even Ray's embarrassed.
Very.
Ray's like, I'm embarrassed that I know you, dude.
Ray's so worried about the light, he changed his background.
Yeah, so
Jesus Christ.
We told him to get into a smaller space.
Old Trafford.
Yeah,
Because half of it's falling down.
and it's okay. Young Trafford will be playing there soon enough. With
Oh.
Young Trafford will
This
be
is
playing at Old Trafford. Now,
Absolutely terrible so far.
the other big thing is she's going to be making it over to the East Coast here in the next year.
Jane is?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're already working on her in studio, and us all enjoying a bottle of Four Roses together that I owe her because it was Everton lost to Brentford, and we made a bet on it.
Hell
So,
yeah.
All right.
That's amazing.
So, Mel, why don't you go ahead and chat with us
All
about
right.
Brentford?
I promised I wouldn't try the accent because, unlike Graham, I am respectful of the Australian culture.
People expect certain things from me, and I just need to deliver at this point.
Sobriety is
hold
not
on.
one of them.
Sam, you forget she's a white woman. She knows better than all of us. It's been a tough year for her.
Since 2006.
Hey, lads, here's my notes for the show. I'm sorry I'm going to be traveling for work. Now, number one, looking forward to the third season syndrome. This will be the crunch season for us, hopefully, where we make our bones. We were but fortunate with the arriving into the EPL as several of the top teams were in a rebuild, reorganize, manager merry-go-round phase. Now, every team above us, plus Chelsea, are set to fly. So we're going to need to dig deep. Just saying. Hiram's already giving us looks.
Yeah.
Number two, major outs. In front of goal, Ivan Toney for half a season. In goal, David Raya, possibly not in the too distant future.
That happened today.
Today,
Yep.
yep, got confirmed.
Both are big losses. Big chance for Mbembo.
And what
And Buemo.
That's the one. To not be the most rebounds of the goal, Timber.
You know, it's a shame he doesn't wear number 5.
Why?
Mambo number 5? No good? That was worth a try.
Your dad jokes are falling flat
Worth
today.
a try.
That was funny.
Thank you. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
a few people liked it.
All
Simon
right,
and Mark
a little
applauded.
bit of Jane. Keep it going.
If that's not a song, it really should be. All right. The quote, most rebounds of the goal Timber guy this season, plus excellent opportunity for Kian Lewis Poulter and Damsgaard. It would be nice if Damsgaard arrived, although for mine, he always looks like he needs a decent feed.
Okay, a little thin.
I'm hearing she wants to take him home and feed him dinner. Mm-hmm. Also, the defender captain that helped us into the EPL, Pontus Janssen, goes home to Malamo.
Mm-hmm. Yep, goes back to Switzerland, right? Malmo,
Is it
Switzerland.
Malmo?
Malmo.
Yeah, Malmo. That's the Swedish team that
Swedish,
Zlatan started
I
with.
thought that was down near Wilmington.
Yeah, exactly. Narnia.
It doesn't exist yet. You're right. Fake news.
Number 3, major ins. Kevin Shade, the youngest attacker overdue to score, goes from an on loan to on list, along with Mr. Manny Clean Sheets from the Bundesliga League, Mark Flecken.
Bundesliga League.
You remember?
Kind of sound like Miss Swan from the
You
old
know,
Mad
I'm
TV.
reading this cold.
Yeah.
I am reading this cold. I had not looked at these words before
But
just
I'm an
now.
excellent. But I'm an excellent cold reader.
Do you
I
remember
am.
that
I'm doing a
Ghanaian dude
great
that was
job.
doing the rounds,
He
went
looking
viral
like a man. Yeah.
for the way that he mispronounced? Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. That's the Bundesliga League.
Bundesliga
Okay.
League. He looking like a man. Go ahead.
Now, how long it takes for Flecken to adjust to the EPL will be critical. Now, Thomas Frank has resigned through 2027, which gives us re-signed
That's re-signed.
through 20.
We're an excellent cold reader.
Oh, here we go. Now we got the glasses
Oh, it
on.
was the glasses.
Oh.
The glasses is what did it wrong.
Nope.
The whole email says we'll be fine. Don't worry.
It's, you know what? It's the 8-point font. I was set up for failure, y'all. Sabotage.
Leave it to my wife to always find out a way
Thomas
to blame
Frank
it on
has
me.
re-signed through 2027, which gives us great stability. So happy days across the board. Young Irish international defender comes in from Wolves. Used to play with Ben Mee at Burnley, so good back row times there. So Kim comes in as a U21 South Korean international defender and may or may not make the A team this season. Now, how will go? Well, Jane will be thrilled to bits with finishing 10th or 11th, and she'd love to see Rico Henry get a run in as English jumper.
By the way, the thread is on fire right now. Just making remarks about Mal.
They know I'm going to see that as soon as we're done with this, right?
They also said, "Don't let me read it because I will
it's
fucking
even
massacre."
fucking
It'll be
worse than
terrible.
that. Yeah.
English jumper. I think we're in for a red hot season either way, and I wouldn't miss a game for quids. Now, number 5, check the Bees supporter group here in New York City. It's really gaining some momentum. On Twitter, Brentford FCNYC Fan Club. Once again, that's Brentford FCNYC Fan Club.
And the
They meet for matches at the Red Lion Pub downtown at 151 Bleecker Street.
Excellent.
Cheers from Jane.
I'll find out.
I'll give myself snaps.
Very good. Brentford in the
I
USA.
don't deserve it.
Brentford in the USA on Twitter also
Give
is
me
pretty
Mellow.
active.
Yes.
They're at, I want to say it's Hawk and Thorn in Alexandria in Virginia that their bar is at.
That one dude we met goes there.
Yeah, and well, no, they've had a pretty decent following get out there, and as mentioned, for the EPL summer series, they had a good 80 people at their tailgate. So good on them, building up the crew.
That's what you get for setting up a rival tailgate.
Yeah, precisely. Very good. No
Tickle me,
300
Melba.
like us.
Nobody does a fucking party like we do.
All right, well, boys and girls, we have a very, very, very special treat for you coming up here. Our good friend Paul Dorsey of the Stateside Seagulls is unable to attend tonight.
Indisposed.
Oh my God.
So, and
This is going to be great.
Paul's always great, and I love Paul because Paul normally has this great frenemy relationship with a certain Crystal Palace supporter that is currently on the thread. But we did this last year, and I thought he did such a great job analyzing what Brighton is up to for the season. Ladies and gentlemen, Crystal Palace supporter Brad Parker to talk about Brighton their arch rivals.
We're the best. We are the best plastic team out there. I'm really excited for this year. We're going to Europe. So I don't really follow what they do that closely, but I assume they sold like 4 guys for 80 million each that we've never heard of. And they have that guy that apparently has hundreds of millions of dollars in debt for Brighton. He probably bought a bunch of people. So they're going to win the Europa League.
They have a great chance, especially when one of their major signings was Bart Verbruggen.
I mean,
What a
that's such
name.
a Brighton name. That's perfect. That's perfect.
What a
I love
name.
it. Are you going to try this for a 3rd year? Like, are you even going to invite him back next year?
He showed up
Like, I
to
know
all
he's a
of them
nice
before.
guy, but he's never going to show.
This is the 4th time you've done it, so that's only 50%.
Okay, well, he normally shows, and he also sat in early on when the show had nobody listening to
That's
it.
true.
That's
for
true.
for
That's
Graham,
true.
while Graham was off busy having like children and shit.
Yeah, that's happening again shortly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the Amex, that's kind of perfect for Europa League, right?
Yeah, frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, it's perfect. If there's anything less than finishing 3rd and winning Europa League, it's a failure.
Okay.
So I am on Sky Sports website to talk about some of the incoming. So like I said, they have Bart Verbruggen, which is a fun name.
Yep.
Sounds like a Simpsons character.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mohamed Dahoud from Borussia Dortmund, undisclosed fee. They signed Igor Julio from Fiorentina for an undisclosed fee. Then they signed Igor Julio from Fiorentina for a £14.5 million fee. So they signed him twice, apparently. And then João Pedro's coming in from Watford. That, for me, is a very interesting signing for
good.
Brighton,
Yeah,
to be
that's
honest.
great.
That
That's a
actually
good signing.
is decent.
Yeah.
But
guess
DeZerbi,
that-
we'll see what DeZerbi does. They very well, under his tutelage, I think, could have what would normally be referred to as a sophomore syndrome, and having that disappointment,
Vieira season, as it were.
having that disappointment against Manchester United in the cup. It's going to be difficult, I think, as we saw in the league, to pick themselves up again,
And
potentially.
couple that with when you get into Europe and you're a team that's not typically playing in Europe,
And they can still lose some players. Teams are still after
They're going to
Casado.
lose some more, and they're not that deep. They're not deep enough to be playing on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday, Sunday.
right? And you
It'll be interesting to see what they do this year.
Yeah.
and just historically, like Everton had gotten into Europe, had a shit year in the league. Burnley had gotten into Europe, had a shit year in the
West
league.
Ham twice.
West Ham, Wolves, Southampton. You see it happen over and over and over again, because ultimately you get a nice windfall of money, but it's not enough to buy a whole second team like the Big Six have for the Champions League matches. And it's just, they were... Yes, that was, but you also had the year after that where you all were shit too, Danny. So I saw that comment.
So does that mean Everton was in Europe the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, yes, very much so. God, I only wish they were.
Their manager thought he still was.
Yeah, no shit. Oh shit.
Old Fat Frank.
Yeah, God damn, you
I
all
even
aren't wrong.
DM'd Paul to ask him to be here, and he still didn't show. I just want to point that out.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
There's no
right.
show
brilliant.
here, and there's going to be a no show in Europe.
All right, there we have it. Well, Brad, excellent job covering your favorite club, Brighton and Hove Albion.
I love it.
You know, the Seagulls. You did
I
great,
will
great work.
plug it. I will plug it for Paul. It's at Stateside Seagulls on Instagram and Twitter.
Very, very active.
And he does a great job, and they had a great summer with them over here this year. Congratulations on an awesome season last year, and a cool summer having them being part of the PL Tour in the U.S. and enjoy it while it lasts.
Very good. All right, Mr. Graham, you bring on our next person.
Yes. So we have the one man in this group that is doing the Lord's work, Mr. Brett, going to turn over Burnley from heathen to Christian. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing quite well. I don't even know what to do with that. Hey, by the way, Mission to Burnley is literally, I think there's a tinge of religious thing coming out on Sky Sports in like 2 days. So
Nice.
There we go.
There you go.
Plugging it real good. Yeah. I'm doing great.
Hey, you know what? Fucking professional over here, okay?
It's your turn, Mr. Graham. Talk away.
All right, so sorry. Are you I was laughing at my own joke. Are you drinking tonight,
You typically do.
sir?
Well, I am at a church softball league thing right now. So,
Brilliant.
Of course,
not
he's
that
drinking.
I wouldn't have a drink, but I'm about to go play softball, so I don't want to be stumbling through.
I've
I
done
saved
that.
that for the bar league softball. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is
All right, cool.
It's water.
Not a problem. So what have you all done this summer? Who have you signed or lost this summer?
Who haven't we signed? Gosh, let's go through it. Incomings are James Trafford from Manchester City. At the time was a club record fee. Nathan Redmond from Besiktas. Jacob Brun-Larsen from Hoffenheim. Jordan Bayer from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Luca Koleosho. Now this, we had a little conversation about this, about, weird, interesting partners. Luca Koleosho, eligible for the American national team, the Italian national team, the Nigerian national team, and the Canadian national team. He's currently with the Italian youth national team. Pretty wild. He's a winger from Espanyol. We got Zeki Amdouni, Europa League Golden Boot winner from FC Basel. Obafemi became permanent from Swansea. Darrow Shea from West Bromwich Albion. And Fab just said, the Don, the transfer Don himself, Sander Berge, home of the good Berge, is a done deal from Blades. So I'm real stoked about that. So is Wilson Odebert from Troyes, who just got relegated to League Two. Outgoings, we lost Bobby Thomas. Luke McNally just signed to Stoke on a loan. We lost Ashley Barnes to Norwich. And then Fabrizio just tweeted out, our good friend Wout Weghorst is off to TSG Hoffenheim.
Mhm.
So he's going out. So that's our incomings and outgoings. There's a lot more in the pipeline too, from what I understand. This is like, I think I said this before, but I'm having an aneurysm as a Burnley supporter, because in the past it's been Dale Stevens from Brighton.
Nothing inspires the new season like a man named Dale.
Yeah.
I'm currently living my best life. Yeah. So it's been a wild summer already. And, 16 incomings last summer as well when we got relegated. So
I do have one quick question about a specific incoming, and that's Nathan Redmond. Do you think the brain himself, Vincent Kompany, took on Pep's advice in signing Nathan Redmond after that? What was it? Carling Cup performance City put in against Southampton, and Pep was coaching Nathan Redmond after the fact, and then in his press conference said something along the lines of, "I love him as a player. He's one of the best players I've ever seen."
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't put it past Pep and company actually eat together pretty often still. I wouldn't put it past him, but that just means we're going to be taking Tim Ream here soon too, because we all heard what Pep said too.
That's
so
absolutely
we're just
right.
going to have a bunch of geriatrics from Pep. Pep's like, oh yeah, I love these old guys, you know. So it'll be good. But I think Redmond will be a solid squad player and a good.
He'll be a good guy to have around the dressing room for sure. All right, moving on. What are your expectations for the season, you think? We talking mid-table, like the recent kind of trend of newly promoted clubs coming up and finishing in 10th, or are we hanging on for dear life here in 17th? What do you think?
You know, we pumped Bournemouth at their place in the Carabao Cup, or is the FA Cup last season 4-2, and we played their full strength side. So I'm pretty comfortable in the fact that okay, realistically, I want like 11 to 15th. I'd be super happy, great. But everything in me says, I want Europe, baby. Let's go. I want Big Brain Vincent Company to take me to the moon, Dogecoin to the moon. That's like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Is Craig Bellamy still his assistant?
He is absolutely still his assistant.
In this dynamic, Craig Bellamy's pinky, and Vincent Company is the brain.
Oh, definitely.
So they go
no doubt about it.
set up the team meeting, and what are we going to do today, brain?
What we try to
do every week, Craig. Try to take over the world.
He's got the golf clubs out on the training pitch, so I've heard it's.
So everybody's just
it's
scared
really
to
got
death
the young
into doing their
kids
jobs.
Yeah, everyone's doing what they need to be doing right now.
Fucking brilliant. Is there anything you want to plug or promote, my friend?
Absolutely. Noram Clarets on X or Twitter. That's the North American Burnley supporters group. Canada, the United States, Mexico. Really stoked about that. Lots of good things. Wisconsin Clarets is getting off the ground. There are, turns out, quite a few of us, and I'm blown away by it. We're going to start meeting in the Twin Ports, Duluth, Minnesota, and Superior, Wisconsin, at Dublin's Brew Pub. So I'm real stoked about that. BFC in the Community is a great charity local to Burnley, and our new investor, JJ Watt, is selling Burnley hats. So the 100% proceeds go to the food bank in Burnley. And if you know anything about Burnley or the mill towns up in the Northwest, it's a pretty impoverished area overall. And so the club and the charity the club runs is the lifeblood of the community. So seriously, look at it. Even if you're not a Burnley fan, buy a Burnley fan a hat. Really amazing things. Plug some podcasts, Turfcast podcast, Turf Morehouse, Talk BFC. And I just wrote I think a great piece, a sacrilegious piece with the Pope holding the communion host of Nick Pope for a page called Overthinking Football. And I did a deep dive into the tactics and statistics about this new look Burnley. So
awesome.
If you play fantasy at all, check it out. Overthinking Football.
DM us a link of that, please.
Yeah,
I'd like
fantastic.
to read that.
Yeah, I'd happily do that.
Awesome. Thanks,
I'd love
man.
to. Yeah. Cheers. Thanks.
Fucking JJ Watts starting shit. And now Brady owns part of Birmingham City.
And Russell Westbrook owns part of Leeds. And did you see his face at the weekend when their terrible performance? Essentially, the first 14 minutes, he had that face where that reporter asked him some weird shit, and he had that same face. He was like, "What the fuck am I watching right now?" That's how bad it was for Leeds.
No, I blame JJ Watts.
You know what JJ Watt once famously said? It's time to play some tag. Let's move on, boys and girls. That is a joke just for Mel.
Thanks, Brett. The Great American Tag or whatever. I saw that show 3 times.
Yep. And we move
JJ
on.
and his brothers hosted it.
We move on to a small mid-table club in London. But honestly, you know what's great is that we have a wonderful guest, one half of the Naptown Blues fan cast, the smoothest pipes in the business.
Fucking Homer.
Mr. Hiram Wainwright, How you doing, Hiram?
Fuck yourself.
I love it.
Oh no, I'm doing great. Can't complain. A lot of ins and outs going on with the club, but then again, we got to fix the shit that happened last season. So yeah.
You already took the words out of my mouth. I mean, to say last season was a monumental disappointment for a club as at the level that Chelsea is an understatement. And there was a lot that went on, and good thing for Chelsea. The Saudis are just willing to open up their checkbook and fix all their financial fair play problems this season. Isn't it just great?
Well, yeah, but guess what? So I don't even know if you've seen this yet, Hiram. I saw an article today. Breaking news when it feels like breaking. That Chelsea now face an investigation from back when Roman was in charge.
Oh, shocker. Shocker. Yeah. Let us all show you our surprised face.
In the history of Chelsea Football Club, this will be known as the herpy years. You might think it's gone, but occasionally it'll flare back up.
It just keeps coming back.
It just itches.
It never goes away. All right. So, Hiram, who are the major incomings and major outgoings? I'm going to give you 5 minutes because I know it's going to take a little while. So go ahead and talk about everybody that's coming and going.
All 43 people you have coming in and out.
Or we like to say pulling a forest.
Anything but that. No, we definitely have some great attackers and Nick Jackson, who I think had a phenomenal preseason. He'll definitely be someone to be on the lookout for, especially because like after seeing him, I think in 3 matches throughout this preseason, he scored like 3 goals and had like 2 assists or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he's going to be a great addition for our forward attack. Outside of that, of course, you have a bunch of young talent. I guess the Chelsea staff are just playing FIFA and looking at all the young prospects, going on from there, just going to see who's there. There's Axel Diassi coming from Monaco.
Hey, Hiram, are they young and fresh?
The young hot freshes.
Pretty
young hot freshes.
Very, very, very fresh.
Do any of them skate or promote at clubs? That's a
not
throwback.
legal yet, so no.
That's a deep cut.
But outside of that, of course, the obvious Christopher Nkunku, who became our attacking mid, but now after recent news, he's going to be out for 4 months. So that's a big fuck you to Chelsea after that.
It's a big fuck you to 100 million pounds.
We can't get anything right at this point.
I hate to laugh because I hate when players get injured. That's not a thing I like to do. It's not okay. But because it's Chelsea, because it's Todd Bowling, the amount of money they spent on him, it is fucking hysterical.
Honestly, I guess this is payback from the Roman Abramovich years or whatever. So with that, basically, like, of course, like we had some past players that we already had pre-signed, like Malo Gusto coming in from Lyon. We also have a couple Brazilian talent like Angelo, who just got, I think they just announced that he's going to be on loan to Strasbourg, if I'm not mistaken. And then Andre Santos playing in our defensive midfield as well, which I think might be someone to look out for, along with Casadei after his phenomenal U21 Euros performance that he had. I think he won the golden ball from that tournament, if I'm not. If just
that might be right. I think that's right.
Yeah, but again, young talent. I'm kind of hesitant on it, but I think there should be someone to look out for, especially because literally in our departures we sold the entire midfield unit in entirety. So we had Kai Havertz, he's going to go do the same bullshit that he did in Chelsea with Arsenal now, so good luck with that.
Not true, because he'll have a consistent coach.
Mason Mount, who didn't want to be second fiddle to Nkunku because he thought that being a Man U behind Bruno Fernandes would be much better, so go fuck you. Mateo Kovacic is gone to City. Can't be mad at that. He definitely did some great work for us, so deserving move. But definitely be a good move for City. Pulisic to Milan, Ruben Loftus-Cheek to Milan as well. Then we also finally sold Ampadu after like 500 years on loan. He's gone out to Leeds in Championship now. And then, of course, the Saudi sweep with Koulibaly, Mendy, and the best smile in all of football, N'Golo Kante.
Yep. Didn't Ziak also go to the Saudi League as well, I believe?
Oh, he failed his physical like 5 times.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, Riyad Mahrez did from
he-
City, and I thought Ziyech was on the block, but like Hiram said, he failed his medical a few times.
All right. So, Hiram, that being said, obviously expectations are always high at Chelsea. If it's not Europe, you've done fucked up. If you're not already in the top 5 by, the first 2 months of the season, this coach will get the axe. It is just what Chelsea does. What do you feel is the outlook for Chelsea this season? What's a realistic expectation, and how quickly will this completely brand new team of young players gel?
It's definitely still going to take some time, especially with our first test in the first match alone being Liverpool. So that'll definitely be some true talent, true disposal to see. But generally, I will want them to be, of course, top 7. Ideally, like 6th or 5th spot will be a good spot for us. But if we're being realistic, we might not even finish within a Europe spot, maybe 8th or 9th, just because we still got to get that cohesive unit going, that chemistry. But again, I'm optimistic. I want to say we can win the Prem, but we all know it's going to be City. Let's just be real about this right now.
That being said, I also want to make a note that you have the former Spurs manager in charge. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really win things when you come from there. So,
I think ultimately the biggest question with Chelsea is how much patience is there? Because there needs to be patience. Like last year
at some point, somebody's going to have to give some patience.
Last year was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
It's like you go off and you get the guy you quote want in Graham Potter, and then you really you throw a bunch of pieces at him, but you don't give him pieces that he needs or wants to work with, and then you're surprised why he fails, and it's just like you can't do that again. Like you're gonna have to take your time with this, because if you do that, you're gonna end up being what Arsenal was for a little while, where constantly just kind of on the outside looking in. Or
I don't think they should have fired Tuchel.
No,
personally, but you know where Tuchel lost his job was that fucking handshake. Because what we do know about billionaire white men with hair like that is that if you don't shake hands properly, you're fucked.
Very good. And Hiram,
I've been sitting on that joke for 7 months. Hiram.
All right, Hiram.
Made you on that. That was a great one.
Anything you would like to promote, my good sir?
Absolutely. Of course, if you guys haven't listened to it already, even though the show is over, go to check out the Nattown podcast or Fancast. I'm sorry, I can't even say that fucking show right. Nattown Fancast. Go ahead, check us out. Myself and Big Sam Houston. We are definitely covering the NPSL's Annapolis Blues, who are recently the Mid-Atlantic champion, so definitely go check us out. And then also, aside from that, if you guys are in the Annapolis area, come by this Friday from 10 to 2 p.m. We are also having a mobile blood drive where you guys can meet our Golden Glove winner for the entire NPSL, Griffin Hemmendinger. So come check us out there.
Big Griff.
What a
I
name.
wasn't going to go, but now I am.
Yeah, gotta go see Big Griff, man.
I recently got tattooed. I can't go.
Oh,
They won't take my blood.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
You can't give blood because you had the heart thing.
Yes, I did. I know. But I'll still go and shake hands and kiss babies and let Hiram and I be man of the people.
Griff is there. No one wants to see you.
Griff wants to see me.
Houston heard that it was goalie day at the blood drive.
Yeah, yeah.
He wants his free cookie.
I'll wear my pick jersey and I'll bring my gloves and we'll be besties.
I'll wear my gloves. Full kit wank out. Full kit wank out. Yeah.
What would Griff do if you got out of the car in full kit?
I
with
would
gloves?
fucking shit a brick. I'll show up for that.
No, you forget I root for a proper club in the town of Liverpool. There's no full kidding on this end. That is absolutely a Liverpool bit, not a Everton bit for damn sure. We got Ryan laughing. That makes me happy. All right. Well then, Mr. Graham, I pass it over to you and someone who hasn't spoke yet tonight that's getting ready to speak for the first time.
For the first time.
The very first time.
I do want to just send you my sincere thank you for coming and just let you know that you look great in green. You know? Now, Brad, we briefly spoke earlier, I think, actually. Mr. Sam over there is mistaken. As you got your point across about Brighton. Now we want to talk about the other half of that street that you all share. Crystal Palace.
Oh, what's funny? This is how we talk now, right? Yeah, how you doing?
So what's been going on this summer, my friend? How's it been since the old Owl's back in charge?
Well, and also Brad's drinking, so he should probably tell us what he's drinking.
Oh, yeah, he
as
is
well.
drinking. You're right.
I am drinking. I'm drinking a beer from Narnia. It's the Flip Hop IPA from Good Hops Brewing in Carolina Beach. It's a little south of Narnia, but it's good.
Good. That's great.
First, I just want to say thank you to Big Sam for the flawless producing that's gone into this show. And I just feel really bad for producer Mel clearly losing her position because the emails, the beginning, everything, it's been perfect. You're doing a great job. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Brad.
Hi, Mel. Go read his emails. You're good. How was Pink?
Rob sent me a text message going, sorry I missed the Zoom last night. How did it go?
Jesus, fuck me, Christ.
That's awesome.
I'm never going to live that one down.
So you want to know how our summer's been?
Yeah, I want to know what little field mouse has the Owl snapped up this summer?
Wow. I don't know that he has. We know who's gone. Everybody whose jersey I've ever bought is gone. Zaha's gone. Luka Milivojevic gone. James MacArthur gone. And now, as of today, Roy was on TV in Norway because he speaks like 27 languages. And he said that our keeper, Guaita, is refusing to play. Hasn't played all summer for us, apparently because they told him that Sam Johnson was going to be the number one going into the season. So he doesn't want to risk anything and wants to leave. So that's up in the air now. We went from having 3 really good keepers 6 months ago to now having 1 and 1 on the way out. Who was the Owl picked up? We got Jefferson Lerma on a free, like the day after the season ended. And then we didn't do anything till this week. We got producer Mel's mom's favorite player, Franca from Brazil. He's 19 years old. He looks like, a potential superstar. He fits into the mold of what we're doing, buying young, buy low, sell high. So the problem is we don't have Zaha. Elise's hurt and will be out for another couple months at least.
That
so
one's
who's
tough.
playing up front with him? What's that?
I said that's tough. That one's a
tough.
hard, yeah.
I mean, he was our best player last year. Him and Czech Decore were our 2 best players without a doubt. And, he was the youngest player ever to have 11 goal contributions, the most assists ever by a player his age. This was his year to go to the next level, and then we sell him for a Brighton kind of sum. So losing those first couple months will be tough. It'll be Eze by himself. The midfield is going to be great. I have no problems with that. The back line is great because as of today, we still have everybody from last year. We still have Gahey. We still have Decore. We still have Anderson. So it all looks great until you get the ball up front, if we ever do. And then I don't know.
You still have got Edward. Come on.
We've got Ayew. We've got Jordan Ayew. And honestly, he might be playing at striker when we have everybody.
Yep.
He did it with Roy before and was player of the season. So that's pretty scary. If that's where we are, we have Edward and we have Mateta that can do it. But if you have one guy on the wings that's not hurt, what are you going to do? I think you have to stick him up there.
Yep.
There might be some guys coming up from the academy. There's a couple of good players there, but I don't think they're quite ready. So I don't know. I'm afraid, as always with Palace, how are we going to score? And you take Zaha and Elise out of the equation, and it's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, Eze, when he came back from his injury last season, was fucking brilliant. And you would hope that he can stay fit and really, almost like Zaha did in that respect and take over this team and do that. But at some point, if you all are going to, push through that glass ceiling of what, 9th, over the last 8 years or so you've been in the Premier League. You're gonna need
11.
somebody other than one fucking player to do it.
Yeah, perpetually 11th.
Yeah. And I don't know how you're gonna do it with losing Rob Street. I mean, what a guy to have leave the club.
You had to bring it up. You had to bring that up.
We kind of covered it there a little bit. What are your real expectations for the season? What do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, I'm a little afraid that teams that are behind us might go past us. Teams like Chelsea, they could go ahead of us this year. They're that good. They could actually pass us. We said it last year when Roy came back and people were saying, are they going to go down? Are they going to be in 17th? No matter what happens, we seem to always end up in 12th or 14th. So I'm gonna hope we tread water at the beginning of the year and Elise comes back and him and Eza play the way that they can play, and we'll finish 12th.
Brilliant. So
best case scenario, he comes back early. We do sign a striker in the last couple of weeks. We have some links. We're going to get Lewis Hall on loan from Chelsea. It looks like he's going to be a hell of a player, I think. But we're going to count on some teenagers this year.
That is, joking aside, that is a well-trodden path. The Chelsea to Palace loan move.
Oh, yeah.
Loftus-Cheek, you had Conor Gallagher. I mean, some of your players of the season, had it not been for Zaha, just excellent. So hopefully that can come through for you, but everybody can't finish in 12th, so good luck, mate.
Here's what's going to happen. Our best case scenario is we finish 8th, Brighton 9th, and the real scenario is we finish 12th and Brighton 7th out of Europe.
Right. I gotcha. Anything you'd like to plug, my friend?
Yeah, so our home pub in the DC area, Ireland's Four Courts in Arlington. I don't know if you heard. Last October, a car drove into the pub, set it on fire. It was a disaster. It was brutal. There's been a ton of support from a bunch of the supporters groups in the DC area. I heard from Dave, who runs the pub this week, and they are looking to be open for Labor Day weekend.
Oh, fabulous. That's good to hear.
Great news for them. We love that place. The people that run it, everybody that works there is amazing. They've been fantastic to us throughout the years. As soon as you hear that they're opening, everybody get out there and support that place. They've lost almost a year of business right after COVID. It's a neighborhood pub. People love it. They support our sport. And we just want the best for them. So get out to Ireland's Four Courts as soon as they're open.
Absolutely. And, that heartwarming story that you just told, which is, very unfortunate, but how they are part of your community almost makes me feel bad about making a senior citizen driving joke with Roy Hodgson at the helm of your club. And so I'm not going to say it, but just know that it was there. It was locked and loaded.
Driving up to Virginia.
It was locked and fucking loaded, but now I can't goddamn say it, okay? And you've ruined it. Thank you very much for coming out, my friend.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, so next up is
the fucking Blue Wank Fest.
Okay, well, first and foremost, there's going to be one rule. Ryan, Sam, you are not allowed to look each other directly in the eye and have conversations, or this show will run for 2.5 hours.
I was going to go to the bathroom, so there was no chance of it.
Very good. Anyways, it is time to talk about my beloved club, Everton. Ryan, real quick, I just wanted to point out to you right back here. That's another press pass, by the way. I seem to collect them like baseball cards. How's your world been? Mm-hmm. And just, that's how it rolls. Just I collect press passes because it's what I do, as a member of the press.
Well, I scout, so that's the difference.
Very good. Good, sir. We were told about 2 months ago that there was going to be massive changes to our board within 48 hours. 2 months later, Bill Kenwright is still in charge. And if it wasn't for us, everybody would be paying attention to Wolves' absolute shit show right now. But no, there's us with an FFP hanging over our head and a few moves, not a lot of moves. wondering where the money's going to come from, what this team is going to be, barely escaping relegation 2 seasons back to back. Who are we bringing in? Who's gone away? And just talk all things Everton, please.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done a lot of business because there is no money. It's not a financial fair play circumstance at this point as much as it's just a cash issue. We'll get to that in a second, but our business reflects that. So the losses, I mean, no one that played a significant role. Yerry Mina's a fantastic player, but ultimately who couldn't stay healthy. So is he a loss? They sold 3 younger players, decent sum for Ella Sims, Niels Nkunku. Samuel Smith is kind of a bummer losing him. He's a talented young player, but cash flow issues drove a little bit of that. And I imagine we're going to see Damari Gray out. Rumor is that he's agreed to terms with Fulham, just waiting for replacement, and, probably move several other guys up.
Why couldn't we have gotten that sweet, sweet Saudi money?
Yeah,
God,
I mean, unfortunately, haven't really been a benefit of that, but you never know. There's still a couple guys left to go. And in terms of getting guys in, I mean, we've gained a couple guys back from loan that look like they're going to play a role. I mean, Jared Brantwaite did pretty well at Ajax last year. He's very young. He's big and athletic and good at playing the ball. He may slot in at the starting side right next to James Tarkowski. We'll see. João Virginia's back on loan. He's probably going to be the backup. That might be a little bit of a money-driven thing, but he's young. He's all right. The biggest acquisition, really, not the oldest acquisition, but the biggest acquisition was Dan Juma on loan from Villarreal. He can play a couple different positions, and Dyche has been playing a lot of 4-5-1 with Everton, but obviously he's a 4-4-2 guy or a 4-4-1-1. Dan Juma can be one of those guys up top. And Sean Dyche is known for having older English teams, so I think he just felt compelled to sign Ashley Young on a free to make sure that he had the oldest English player in the entire league that plays out in the field.
You're welcome.
I thought it was Danny Ings.
Close.
It's not Danny Ings?
It's not Danny Ings.
It's not. Ashley Young's 37 years old.
Well, Danny Ings is 48.
She makes him older every week.
And the sad part is, I mean, he may end up starting just because Mikalenko is not fit at left back. He's not even really a left back, but he did play some there for Villa. And I don't know how well he played. I don't think particularly well. But anyway, I don't know what we're going to do with the back line there. I think that's probably the biggest problem with Everton. But again, I mean, there's no money up front for deals until the deal goes down. And the deal that you were referring to, Sam, is the investment of MSP Sports Capital. And they've invested money. It hasn't gone through quite yet. Invested money into the stadium. The stadium should be completed middle of next season. So the goal here is really to get safe. Now, Company's House has a transaction listed on the 3rd. So within 10 days, we'll know all the particulars. But probably what is supposed to happen is investment in the stadium happens. They put a couple guys on the board. And Bill Kenwright walks off into the sunset and no longer is chairman at Everton. And hopefully some of the operational issues and especially the football structural issues will be solved. And there might be a little bit money to spend. I mean, they're going to have to bring in a right-sided attacker. They may bring in a veteran center forward. They did sign, I think today, it hasn't gone official, but it will, Youssef Chermiti, who's a 19-year-old center forward, who's a fantastic prospect from Sporting Club de Portugal, not Sporting Lisbon. Very careful not to say that. Yep. And I would imagine if they get another veteran center forward, because that's asking a lot for him, probably in the kind of mold of a target striker, maybe a defender. You got to hope that Sean Dyche and a healthy Dominic Calvert-Lewin hopefully keeps them safe. And hopefully Everton fans are not stressed all year about it. And I think that's the idea. Just make sure you're safe from relegation leading into next year. Take advantage in the new stadium. Hopefully MSP makes a big difference. I think they will. It's not hard to run a club better than the individuals that have been running it so far.
So then why does Kenwright stay? Because you know that's going to fucking happen, because that's what we do. We're Everton. God, I hope
he's done, man.
I want to believe it. I want to believe it. I want to believe it with everything in my being.
And the reference is that why would he have stayed? There was a bunch of board changes a couple months ago. Why would he have stayed? Farhad Mashiri mentioned that he wanted him to stay to help conduct transfer business negotiations, which we've done none of.
He wanted to do another a run of fucking Cats in Liverpool is what he wanted to do. Produce another show before he headed out. Now there is last question for you, and then we'll let you do all your plugs. The there is a strike against us. We have been found guilty of an FFP violation. Is there any rumor on when we should hear about that? Because you would hope we know before the season. And if there's going to be a points deduction or anything of that nature, we're going to be the precedent that gets set for City.
Fucking
City
better not be a points deduction.
And then you'll see City not get a points deduction for their 114 inversion to our 1. But I'm not bitter at all. But where do we stand with that, Ryan?
Well, I mean, first of all, City were just fabricating companies and raising revenue. Unfortunately, they got scot-free out of the European ban because of simply a statute of limitations, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But no, I don't think we'll get a points deduction. I think that the benefit of it is the club was working directly with the Premier League. Every year, clubs are required to submit interim financial statements, pro formas, that show the financial fair play implications of it. So I think it would be pretty dramatic if the Premier League, which said they were good with everything at the moment, suddenly reversed course and gave Everton a terrible punishment. And look, let's be honest, Everton has not spent anything over the last 4 or 5 years. I know everyone loves to make fun of big spending Everton, but Everton's like way bottom third in gross and net spend over the last 5 years. Everton really didn't spend outside of 17-18. Now they spent a ton that year, no question.
The year of the 10.
The year of the 10.
Yeah, Everton's issues are structural, obviously. You flip-flop managers, you don't have footballing identity, you don't have a true director of football that really runs everything. And I think we're hopeful that MSP will come in and fix that. But I don't see anything, Sam, that's a point deduction, that would be pretty dramatic. And look, it'd be one thing if Everton was still buying up everyone right and left. They certainly have not done that.
Excellent. Ryan, please promote away. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Sure. I'm one member of the American Toffee podcast. You can find us on all sorts of different podcast platform of choice. It's up to you. Also wanted to plug the North American Toffees too. It's a group that's been newly formalized in a different way. There's a membership out now with all sorts of cool benefits. We had Tony Sampson, their leader, on last week. It was a great episode. It's really interesting. And obviously the DC Toffees are still meeting at Across the Pond restaurant in DC. They'll be there for the Fulham match. Every now and then I do try and find myself down there. But that's it, man. I'm just hoping for a less stressful season than the last two.
Unfortunately, we're going to have a stressful season.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like yours as well.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate it. And good job, Sam. No pot shots or anything. I'm proud of you.
I wanted to give him his time properly.
Yeah. But that's
I don't
you can take pot shots now if you want to just
first.
Let them off.
Such a god.
Wow.
All right.
You can't make it any worse for us anyway. My God. Other than being relegated, where we'd probably cease to exist, probably.
Yeah. Hopefully, Kenroy can jazz hands his way into the sunset, and it'll be good.
We are at the halfway point now, it looks like. And the good news there is that half these fuckers aren't even here to represent their team. So we'll keep it rolling.
It'll be fast. And somebody wake Danny up.
I forgot to give Jay a heads up.
It's no longer the preseason, Mrs. Houston.
I know. Fucking produce me, Jay, please.
I only wrote this note. What is right
I've
here?
been texting him.
Says Jay cover for Jason.
I knew that
at the very beginning of the show.
I had been texting with him, and then I was so enthralled with what Ryan was saying.
Brad was right. I do produce the show way better.
But Mark Turner
you're wrong.
says I'm his favorite.
You're right. See, Mark, this is where it all goes horribly wrong. Is when we need her to produce. And see, you need to stop talking because my job right now, I'm covering for you, woman. So you're all in the clear. We ready to rock and roll there, sweetheart?
Yeah, I'm just going to pretend I gave Jay the warnings.
Okay, very good.
He just didn't get the messages because he's a Fenway.
All right. Well, then, Mr. Graham, please chat about all things Fulhamish.
Please leave a detailed message.
Oh, no.
Leave it. I'm leaving him a voicemail.
My earliest convenience.
Okay, go for it.
Have a great day.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
So, Jay, who have you lost and added in your team here? And what are your expectations for the season, man?
Jay's in line for ice cream. He said give him 5 minutes.
Okay, well, then we'll jump on to the next team. And
I thought this was more fun.
Yeah.
Are we still going on the voicemail?
No.
Come on, fill it up.
I would like to say, everybody, the irony is not lost on me as Graham wants to make fun of somebody for it going to voicemail when this asshole went on vacation in July. And his voicemail is currently still, "Hi, I'm sorry, I'm away on vacation."
I do it on purpose, Sam.
Take some fucking pride in what you do.
I'll just go to
God damn.
Liverpool.
Fucking terrible.
Second place salesman of the year so far.
Yeah. Good for you.
Listen, I don't have time to be changing voicemails. I'm out there selling booze. Okay?
There's only going to be one winner at the end of the year, and it probably won't be you. Let's go ahead and talk about somebody else who hasn't been a winner for a while, Liverpool.
Ooh, that's a dig.
That is tough. Oh, it's me. Hey, Russ. How you doing, buddy?
Is Russ asleep?
Suddenly, Russ's screen went black.
Yeah.
What, I make one pot shot at Russ, and suddenly he doesn't like me anymore?
Wow.
I think Russ just bounced.
No,
Russ
he'll
just
be back
hung up
on.
everybody.
My goodness. We were moving right along.
See, there he is. He's coming back now. It's, again, amazing production. We are on fire. This is why we call it the 20 for 20 shit show. And that is why it is called this.
If Ryan wasn't so interesting, I would have not been paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm with the wrong Everton.
Well, we're just
Russ.
Maybe. There's
Russ, you're
Russ.
up, buddy.
Russ, you are up.
Still power outages problems.
I gotcha.
Oh,
Well, those
no.
lights on, I can tell.
Yeah.
So, what's been going on this summer? You drinking first and foremost?
No, tonight I'm going light, unfortunately. Topo Chico, sparkling mineral water.
Okay.
So I've got family that just arrived in, so I have to be somewhat coherent as I get them all checked into the house.
Did they get blown in by the tornado, or was this a planned trip?
No, this is a planned trip from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and up from North Carolina.
Awesome. Sounds great. So what's going on with Liverpool this summer? What have you actually done after you tried to sign Kylian Mbappe, which is the funniest thing I've seen for a long time?
On loan, not sign, a loan. Actually, we unfortunately this year we've only have 2 signings. Only West Ham have fewer than us so far. But on the outing, we had our 2 captains go with Hendo and Milner.
Yeah.
And then we lost our 2 Brazilians with Fabinho and Firmino. And then our 2 injured reserve players in Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yep.
So
that is unfortunate, but you picked up a fucking World Cup winner.
We did. We got him from pretty cheaply from Brighton. We brought in McAllister, and then Solbao, we brought him in, the Hungarian captain of the team. So, some depth at midfield. We're still a little weak there. I'd like to see another signing or 2, but it'll be interesting. We do have people coming back off of injuries from last year with, Diaz and Jota. So having them come back healthy up front will be great, but we could still use another signing or 2 in the midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are your real expectations for this year, man? What do you think you guys are going to do with having not really upgraded your defense, which was obviously a problem last year, and then still needing some pieces in midfield? Obviously, you got Mo Salah up front. Diaz should be back from injury and fit and firing again. So forward, wise, I think you're probably okay. But with these, kind of the question marks over your defense and your midfield, what are your expectations this year?
Well, luckily for us, we play Manchester United twice, so there's 2 wins at a 14-0, goal differential. So that would be a nice thing. But no, our season last year got off to a great start, winning the Community Shield, and then just went downhill after that. So I figure if that happens this year, we should climb into the top 4. Realistically, I think 3rd is where I see us slotting in at, but Europa, I think we're going to go all in on Europa, get in that top 4, and then just kind of go from there. Hopefully we pick up another signing or 2 and then hit one up in the January window.
Yeah. Maybe you can sign original Ronaldo while you're at, Mbappe's table as well. So hopefully that goes well for you. But without, James Milner, who's there to win the fitness test at the beginning of the season?
Oh, that was that came between Salah and Soboslai. So
Okay.
they were the 2 who came in on that one.
Ah, good. So somebody else got a chance to win it for the first time in 12 seasons. Nice.
Someone else, yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything you want to promote there, man?
One of the big things to promote is, after seeing, I really wish I could have gone down to the tailgate with everyone. I would have just loved to have seen that experience of all the other fans. I did go to the O's game on Saturday night, and I was sitting right next to a Mets traveling section, the 7-line Army, I think they stadium, and they were pretty well behaved, and it had a very soccer feel to it. They were leading their chants, and I just want to encourage everyone to get out there and find a local supporter club. You know, if you go on Liverpool.com, they have official LFC supporter clubs from Albuquerque down to Narnia. They touch everywhere, so it's a great thing to find. I'm trying to start up one out here in Frederick. So once I get that going, I'll let you know.
Excellent. Very
Also,
good.
You'll find some plastics to join that.
Yeah.
Also, famously, Albuquerque further south than Narnia. Just saying. So it'd be up to Narnia.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then, Mr. Graham, let's jump back in the table real quick.
Russ, thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Russ, very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, folks.
Copites are gobshites. And, sir, why don't we go ahead and jump? We got Jay on the line with us right now, who famously just decided, I'm done with you, and hung up on us during the tailgate show. The floor is yours, Mr. Graham.
Jay, what's going on, buddy?
Everything and nothing all at the same time.
Awesome. Did you check your voicemail? I asked the first 2 questions in there.
Yeah, but I couldn't hear shit. So
Awesome. So
it's funny because there was like Graham rambling on the voicemail that I just listened to, and then I answered the phone, and it felt like it was a recorded message for Liverpool FC. And I was like, wait, did they call the right guy?
Hey, so are you at a ballpark? I heard you're at Fenway. Is that right?
I'm at Fenway.
So you must be drinking. What do you got going on over there? The Tall Boy Stella or something?
No, they had some sort of hoppy IPA. Zipper. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like a local beer or whatever. But I finished it, and the line was too long, so I'll get another one before the 7th inning. I promise you that.
There you go. Perfect. So what's going on with Fulham this summer, my friend? What's happening?
Oh, geez.
Comings or goings? What's your deal?
Well, we sold our best player to Saudi Arabia twice, but then we didn't. So, yeah, at first it was $30 million, and I was like, "Oh, please no!" And then it was $40 million, and then we said 52, and then they walked away. So I would have took $52 million for him, but at this point, I'm hoping he shows up at Goodison Park and bangs a hat trick.
Perfect. And we should take a brief moment, right, for all the problems with Saudi Arabia and everything that's going on, the amount of money they're throwing at people and everything else. You should give credit where credit's due, right? Like Donald Trump did sign some animal protections back in the day, right? So credit where credit's due. Saudi Arabia took the moral high ground and turned away Mitrovic. Fucking well done. Fucking well done.
It's funny because Tony Khan went on, what was it, Levitard a few weeks ago, and basically called him out and said, if you have money, you can do whatever you want, including murder, and just rolled with it. No apology, no nothing. So I think some of it is, they're just stirring the pot to try and unravel team unity. But, we beat Hoffenheim the other day in a friendly, so we'll take it.
Nice.
That's not bad. But you have had a couple incomings, Raul Jimenez being the notable one. Do you think, was this a signing in case Mitrovic went? Or, because obviously since David Luiz broke his face, he has not been the same player. Seems a bit of an odd one from my perspective.
What I can say about that is a value signing. Like the Cons, since they took over, they're all about deals, right? A lot of times it's the end of the transfer window, and 3 or 4, FIFA wonder kids from 5 years ago get signed. If you remember when we came up through the playoffs the first time, they spent like $100-some million signing a bunch of guys that were supposed to be the next best thing and never really panned out.
Yeah.
So they're always looking for deals, and I think Jimenez at £5.5 million was just a deal, and they're like, you know what? He's as good as what we got as a backup, but if worse comes to worse, like, competition's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he has done it in the Premier League. I mean, the only issue is there isn't really any indication he's going to get back to that level at this point, which is obviously the concern. That being said, I mean, you've lost a couple of relatively notable names. I mean, Shane Duffy, very experienced defender. Paulo Gazzaniga. Again, what are your expectations for this season? Because you haven't really replaced any of those players either.
Yeah, well, Gazaniga was on loan last year, so he didn't feature for us. He was more of insurance. Our
Gotcha.
backup is Merrick Rodak, although there's been rumors that he's looking for a move. I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. And, he doesn't want to be second fiddle to Bernd Leno. And Leno, rightfully so, is the starting keeper and will be, barring injury or suspension. And Duffy, really, actually, the highlight of Duffy was just he came on, I can't remember who it was last year, but he came on late as a second striker. And they're like, let that man do whatever he wants. Just come on and bang a header in, which he, of course, missed horribly because he's a defender, not a striker, not a number 9. But, yeah, those were bench fillers. We signed Calvin Bassey from Ajax, and he chipped in a goal the other day against Hoffenheim in the friendly, as did Jimenez, so that was nice. And the other thing is Sosin was rumored to go to Tottenham, then he was rumored to go to France, and nothing's really materialized on that. So a lot of what we were doing this summer is just not losing anybody. And so far, we really
Pauline
haven't.
is obviously the big one.
Yeah.
If you lose Pauline, you're going down. And he so far has stayed. So fantastic job there.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing is when West Ham, sold Declan Rice, that was, we're just going to replace him with Polina. And they wanted to pay half of what they sold Declan Rice for. And I was like, good luck.
Well, they got to save the other half for dildos. Is there
exactly.
anything you'd like to promote here, my friend?
Yeah, there's a whole lot. We got in touch with the Fulham American Supporters Group on Facebook. Not Facebook, sorry, Twitter. And the guy that runs it is going to be handing it over to all of the, Fulham DC, Fulham in the South, and Fulham in Philly.
Pretty sweet.
Myself. Yeah, so we're going to take that over. He just so happens to run a, what do you call it, shirts and stuff. He makes the kits for the Charlotte FC.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
MLS team. Yeah. So we're trying to form a partnership with the team because, as you probably don't know, but outside of the Big Six, getting your team's gear is really tough in the States, whether it's just the availability of it as well as, $25 for international shipping of any item.
Yeah,
and
that's
it may or
pretty
may
much
not
what
show
it
up
is.
in 6 months. Yeah, so they're trying to partner with the team to have like a distribution / manufacturing in the States for all the American fans. They were literally, the team was blown away with the support and reception that they got from the summer series that honestly we weren't even supposed to be in. But thanks to Leeds pulling a Leeds, we were able to sneak our way in and
They've been
beat
mentioned
Brentford.
more than if they were on the show. Fucking Leeds today. Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, it's Leeds. Anytime you can throw a bar in, you have to.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's partnering with the team. We have also grown enough with the supporters here stateside that we're looking to do some charitable stuff with some other DC Kicks is the name of the group. I don't have obviously notes in front of me, but yeah. So that's the plan, is to try and get some autograph memorabilia and stuff like that to auction off to benefit for charity. And
Awesome.
A lot of it's just in the beginning phases of all this. But like I said, the team was kind of blown away with the support they got. And so they're like, hey, anything we can do to help, we're in. Yes, I mean, that's the plan, is just whether it be Fulham in the South, where we we stream all the games and watch on Google Meet, or in Fulham DC, Dane, who runs that, they go watch games at across the pond. They're every game. I don't know about cup games, but I know all the EPL games.
All the
they
league,
do.
yeah. All right, well, awesome, dude. And when you do have notes in front of you, of course, you had to jump in last minute there. You're actually at the ballpark right now, which we understand.
Good looking out. Thank you.
And thank you so much for. Make sure you share the charity stuff to the DUFC page, please. and make sure everybody knows about the charitable work that you guys are doing and that Fulham is doing. Also, if Shahid Khan it was gracious enough to visit the tailgate, actually, and say hello to everybody, if he could pass along the coupons that he's, as you say, he likes a deal, whatever coupon he's using for that mustache wax, I'd love to get in touch with that company and see if we can get an old sponsorship here.
Are you sure he didn't leave it behind at the tailgate?
That could be the case.
We had like a beard oil or something. I don't know what it was.
Oh, might
There
be.
was beard oil and something else left over.
Absolutely.
Mine is definitely at home, so it wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So,
Me neither.
All right, bro. Hey, listen, I really appreciate your time. Get back to the baseball, go do your thing, and we'll speak soon, all right?
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see you over the international break, if not sooner.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Thank you.
Perfect.
All right. Take it easy.
All right.
All righty, Mr. Graham. I was able.
What a guy.
Yeah, what a guy. I was able to find us a Luton supporter.
What are
And
you?
now it is time. Hello, Luton supporter. Would you mind unmasking yourself there and unmuting yourself, please?
He fell asleep.
He must have. Okay, well, there's an unmuting. How about a camera? I'd like to see your face, Luton supporter Mike. Ha! There he is. Hi, Luton supporter. Would you mind introducing yourself, please, Luton supporter?
My name is Mike Rogers, and I am a Luton Town supporter.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely, you are.
First off, mates,
What
I
kind
can't
of
believe you
taint tickling
twats-
bullshit is this?
I can't believe you twats are still talking bollocks every week on a topic you know nothing about. You see, sticking to American football and not to try to invade the.
We're gonna. Hey, you know what's up next is the Pac-12 podcast.
Yeah. Mike Rogers clearly has not forgotten his disdain for the DU football show.
Jesus Christ! Sorry, Russ.
So Mike, why are you now a Luton Town supporter all of a sudden? What happened?
Well, I mean, it's a short story. I mean, I just want to say, this podcast, I listen every week. I don't see how y'all do it because it's garbage. Absolute garbage. I could do a better podcast by myself, except for the fact that my house arrest monitor kind of causes interference on my recording equipment.
Oh, hold on. You've been arrested? What were you arrested for?
They nicked me for stealing a copy of Space Jam. But no, some of y'all may know I used to be a Liverpool supporter, but gave them up, please. I mean, they hadn't, like someone said a minute ago, they hadn't won anything in a while, and come on, and plus I realized their supporters are a bunch of insufferable, delusional wankers supporting a team of diving twats whose manager acted like a petulant 2-year-old every time he did his way, and had a mouthful of veneers that make the Cheshire cat jealous. Yeah, I'm done with the
He must hate Liverpool now.
So
Did
that
you
is my
two
team? I mean, think about it, boys. Is anything more exciting than a penalty shootout win? I would say no. And of course, there was a penalty shootout win in Istanbul years ago that when 10 seconds afterwards, I decided I was a Liverpool supporter. So about 10 seconds after Luton Town's exciting penalty win and promotion, I decided I was a Luton Town supporter. So
it all makes sense.
Well.
It all makes sense.
I am not the delusional Liverpool supporter I used to be, but I do expect big things from my boys this season. I see a top 5 finish easy. European football next year, and Luton Town will become a Premier League mainstay for the next 7, 8, 9 decades.
Yeah, clearly,
so,
obviously.
Mark it down. I'm here to tell you, boys, we're here, bitches, and we're never fucking leaving. Mike Rogers out.
Oh my goodness. Producer Mel, allow me to say the following. That is brilliant fucking producing.
That was a deep one, a deep cut.
That was just
There was a
absolutely
lot of deep
fantastic.
cuts there.
There's a lot of deep cuts with that
The
one.
wig is obviously a dig at me. The just absolute brazen nature is a dig at Rob. It's absurd. It's fucking absurd.
Stole a copy of Space Jam.
And let me tell you something. When you fucking text me 3 days ago, I didn't realize that you had 72 hours of collaborative writing together to figure out the fuck he was going to say.
Best is going out on the David Geckel Leeds line. Again, Leeds getting a play more than they would if they were here.
I can't fucking believe this.
Fucking brilliant.
Absolutely absurd.
Mark Turner, what the fuck just happened?
Exactly.
You might need to put some backstory. Maybe just let it go.
No,
You know
just
what?
let it be.
Explain
No, just let
nothing.
it marinate for a little bit. We'll tell him in the international break or something.
It's in the universe.
But the point my point is this is why we can't get off the fucking ground after 5 fucking years. It's because of stupid taint tickling like this. And it's absolutely ridiculous that I have to sit here and devote my time to a fledgling project, a 5-year fledgling project, because you'd rather
That you
scratch
have
your
a
friend's
tattoo
back.
of.
You'd rather scratch your friend's back.
You are loving every fucking moment of this.
And by the way, I have that tattoo because, and I was going to mention this at the end of Simon's bit at Arsenal, but we did donate money to the Craig Willinger Fund, which is an excellent charity.
Yep.
And I fell short of my goal, but we still raised $600.
Yes, we did. Very good.
For the Craig Willinger Fund, and I ended up getting tattooed for the show because of it. So
yes, you did.
That is not beyond us. If you pay me a little bit on the side, I'll promote your charity too.
I mean, it's not D back on your asshole
And
like
also-
I requested, but
and also
He's-
maybe fail at that.
Definitely
Instead.
renting space on his body for future endeavors.
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
All right, well,
That
let's
is
go
for
ahead and talk
sure.
about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, Manchester City. I always find it interesting, Sam, that here we are talking about fucking City every season, the, quote, team that everybody's bandwagoning and jumping on,
How do we
but
have
nobody ever seems to want to come on our show and talk
Seriously,
about them.
How do we never have any City fans? Ever?
Because they're too busy not paying attention to the game.
We had my old neighbor that one time.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, very good, Ray. Now, he'll get his moment in a second. Mr. Graham, they really haven't made very many signings, and they've
No.
lost quite a few people. Is it they're going to start using some of the youth? Is that the plan? Like,
No, of course not. They are also going to lose potentially one of their mainstays over the last few seasons in Americ Laporte.
Yeah.
Because he has been very disheartened, apparently, by the signing of Josko Gvardiol. And he's not guaranteed to be in the team anymore, apparently. And he may want to move on in the next, 7 to 10 days. That's going to be very interesting, to be honest with you. Kyle Walker, all preseason has seemed up to snuff, but he is getting older. And as we saw with Aubameyang at Arsenal and then again at Chelsea and then a little bit at Barcelona, even though the game's a bit slower in Spain, those players whose game is mainly based on pace, at some point, something just snaps, something happens, and they lose that half step, and they are much less effective.
Right.
That, contrast is different, obviously, for different people with different footballing IQs and the way the team plays and all that kind of stuff. But the way City play, I think they're going to need Kyle Walker's pace, and I'm just waiting for it to fall off the cliff. May not be this season, maybe next season, whatever. But at some point, he's not going to be as fast as he is and won't have the recovery speed. And if they don't have that, they could be in a bit of trouble, to be honest.
Agreed.
Especially when they're playing, the likes of, Hoyle and whatever Manchester United wants to paint him as.
Right.
Weird bald manager, not bald, blonde, big Norwegian forward. However, it is. If he can't recover fast enough, it's going to cause them issues.
Yeah. I wonder about depth with them. That's a team that's always relied on being able to have a ton of depth. But all that being said, it's still Pep. They still have Erling Haaland. They still have an incredibly talented team. It's hard not to think that they're not going to be right in the mix of it up at the top.
Absolutely, they are. I mean, they're automatic title contenders. Bernardo Silva still seems to be there. I think that was a bit solidified now because of Riyad Mahrez joining Al Hilal. I think it was them.
Yes.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, the very familiar looking front line, by the way. Essentially recreated Liverpool if you ordered it off wish.com.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because you've got Firmino leading the line there, and then St. Maximin on the left, and on the right you have Riyad Mahrez, which obviously is Mane and Salah potentially. Anyway, enough about those
Yeah,
idiots.
move on to the other idiots in Manchester.
Yeah, and it's Al Hali. Sorry, I switched the H and the A there. They are they're always going to be contenders because they have the money, they have the system, they have Pep. They can afford anybody. They seem to take the opposite approach of Chelsea, and instead of loaning everybody out to meet financial fair play and that kind of stuff, they seem to just take players that aren't necessarily ready and have them train with the first team anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is a season on loan at Swindon going to do for you?
Right.
Really, in the way that we play here. Yeah.
Right.
Just train with the first team, and when you're ready, I think I'll put you in because you're training week in, week out against some of the best players in the world, period. And that seems to do them well. I mean, we saw Palmer score that peach of a goal against Arsenal in the Community Shield over the weekend. Now, ultimately, they lost the game to us. Thank you very much, which gives us a little momentum going into the season. But just like Phil Foden, didn't go out on loan, just trained with the first team, got a couple cup games, and he was just all of a sudden ready to be a fucking world beater. And Carlton Palmer seems to be doing the same sort of thing. So we'll see what happens with City this season. They there's been a little bit of unrest in the camp. But I think Arsenal, honestly, is really willing to push them all the way. You've got, the back line of Manchester United has been relatively sorted out. We'll find out in a moment from Ray. But it's going to be, I think, a very, very fun title race this season, to be honest.
Excellent. Well, then let's go ahead and get into Manchester United, Mr. Graham.
All right. Ray, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
You drinking tonight? You want to do anything there?
Yeah, I had a Sam Adams sports rocker earlier, but now I've been sipping on. I just recently knew, so I don't have my copper mug, but I've been drinking some Moscow Mules.
There you go. I can't see it. Can you turn the lights on?
Oh, shut up.
So how's the summer been going for you? Obviously, you picked up Onana, which is a massive upgrade on De Gea at this point in his career. I'm not disrespecting him. Don't worry.
At the midline, like he did this last game against RP Lens or whatever.
Yeah, definitely did get scored on from the midway line.
As long as we don't do that all season, we'll be fine.
So who else have you brought in? What else is going on?
Well, we brought in Mason Mount from Chelsea, to kind of, solidify our midfield. And then we also brought in the other blonde, Holland, pronounced Koilu, who knows, untested, unproven, young center forward for 68 million, 76 add-ons if he performs.
Yeah, I have 72 million listed here on Sky Sports. So,
it changes, but I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, coming from Atalanta, he did well for Denmark in his first few games, scored 6 goals, but he's unproven. I don't know how he's going to handle the big Premier League, but we'll see. We'll know this Monday against the Wolves, and we'll see how he performs. And of course, we got Arsenal right around Labor Day weekend, so he's going to be put to the test pretty quickly.
Yep. Absolutely. So with those comings and goings, obviously you lost a couple of players as well. Alonga over the last few seasons has been, kind of a super sub in certain instances. Just brought something a little different to the game. Not that he always necessarily delivered, but a big locker room guy that everybody talked about, despite only making 4 appearances in the last 6 years. Phil Jones is gone. As well as De Gea. I mean, the kind of monkey, elephant in the room, rather, is De Gea leaving, who's been the stalwart for Manchester United for the last 11 seasons. Excellent shot stopper. Always been a little timid off his line, with balls in the air and that kind of stuff. Not great with his feet, and that was really just kind of found out in the last 2-3 seasons. But thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely fucking blended 2 of them together. Cheers. But him leaving that's a massive turnover for the club, especially when Jordan Pickford was the link from essentially September of last year, and then to all of a sudden shifting and pivoting to Onana, who I mean, Harry Maguire's got to move on, right? With as much shit's going on, now he's got a keeper that's going to scream at him every 3 seconds. How, what do you expect from the season now? It seems like you lost a lot of leaders and didn't really pick anybody else up. And I don't think that Bruno Fernandes is a leader, by the way, just saying.
Well, yeah, I can agree with Bruno Fernandes not being the leader, but he's better than Harry Maguire being the captain of the team. That's for sure.
That's fair. At least he plays.
Yes, but it was, I thought we played pretty well in our preseason. I know we lost a few matches, but we beat your Arsenal twice up in New Jersey, so that was great.
Twice on one day, yeah. Okay.
Of the PKs.
And then we went on to beat Barcelona, who's like a proper football club.
It's like the dad on Friday going, how you motherfucking lose your job on your day off? It's like, how you motherfucking lose twice in one game? I mean, if ever Arsenal was going to Arsenal something, that's fucking it right there.
Typical bottlenecks. But
okay.
All right. I had to throw my jabs in for you, Sam, because you always talk shit about my team. That's okay.
At least we don't include the community shield in the trouble.
I'm really excited for the season this year. I think, with, the Ten Hag being in place for a whole season, finishing top 4, which is still a shocker to me, even to finish 3rd. But we're back in the Champions League. I think that's going to bode well for our squad. I think, bringing in some young lads, trying to get younger, even though I think we overpaid for some of them as always. But I think it's going to hopefully rejuvenate the team. And, I don't see us making a strong push for the title, but I think we should definitely finish top 4 again. I don't know what Russ was talking about Liverpool finishing in top 4. He's clearly drinking, even though he says he wasn't. But I could see us. Depending on how the first couple games of the season go. If we can beat Arsenal in Arsenal, we win the first 4 or 5 games of the season. Maybe we can talk about title. But I think we're a little out of reach for the title, to be perfectly honest, because you got Newcastle looking really good. And there's a lot of teams that can compete this year, which makes the Premier League so great. But I'm just, I definitely think top 4. If we don't finish top 4, it's a failure.
But we'll come on to Newcastle in a minute. I think they're going to hurt a lot by the old added time going into the season there, because they love to waste the old time the last couple of years.
Well, United loves all that extra time. That's where we score all our goals.
Well, Ferguson hasn't been in charge in a decade. Get over it. So is there anything you want to promote, my friend? Yeah. Anything you want to promote, buddy?
Yeah, I'll promote Red Devils DC is the Manchester United football supporters group down in DC. We're at Solace Outpost. I know we have a Charm City squad as well down at Ted Connors, but I usually go down to DC because my fiance lives in DC. We had a really, really good support group, big tailgate at that in New Jersey at the match this past July. We had, 230 supporters from DC show up for that match. So it was a great tailgate. So if you're ever in DC, if you ever want to see a Manchester United game and how exciting it'd be, just stop by, or you can go Red Devils DC on the Facebook group.
Awesome. Well, cheers, man. Really appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
I appreciate it. It's 6 years running. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Cheers, man.
Oh, thank you, Ray. All right. Well, now it's taken a little while to get here, but it is time to talk to my fellow brother of the drip, the flyest motherfucker on the planet, 1/3 of the middle class holes, a quality podcast that you can find just about anywhere.
He'll plug himself. Don't worry about it.
And
fucking hell.
Bought and sold by Saudi blood money. My boy, Alan, Newcastle supporter. How you doing, Alan?
You almost forgot the most important part. I was going to say, you got to talk about the Saudi blood money. That's what we're here for.
Oh my goodness. So for you last season, right? 2 seasons prior, you get the investment. Here we go. This next season, it's like, okay, well, we want to be like, Europe and, get to a cup final. And that's what we you didn't think it was going to be get to a cup final against Manchester United and then make the Champions League in the first year of the project that was supposed to be slowly moving forward. Boom, you're fucking here.
Yeah, whoops. I don't think we meant to do that. Yeah, I mean, shit. What can you say? I can't. We talked at the meetup. I mean, it's exciting as shit, right?
Yeah.
Especially as long as I've been following and saddened by all of the fun Mike Ashley era stuff. So it's been a whirlwind 24 months, I guess we would say. But fuck, we'll take it. We'll figure it out as we go, I guess.
Oh, by the way, Alan, you enjoying a beverage tonight? I got to assume you are.
I am actually not. I got to get up early.
Boo!
I have a water in this. But yeah, I'm
man.
sorry.
Well, we're gonna have to fix that because once Graham has the kid, we're gonna have to get you down here to studio to help fill in and do the job correctly.
I can do that. It's been a while. I gotta make a new tutorial for Sam to study over. Make sure he's really getting the essence of what a real podcast functions like.
We'll
get him. Is that what it is?
It's only a matter of time before Graham figures that shit out.
Let me fucking tell you something. We had 7 people watching us earlier. I think I know what I'm doing.
Alan, you got to unleash the hair.
Look, you've gotten a lot better. Yeah, it's a little calmer.
You got to unleash the hair.
I have it. I just don't want to look like
you
that.
just don't have it. I get it. It's that X factor.
I just
it's that X factor.
Look like a fucking respectable person.
All right, so we'll see.
I'd rather look like a shameless extra.
Well, you see, Alan, when those of us in sales that need to present ourselves properly look like we do, and then you have the ones that go to liquor stores in Carroll County look like Graham do.
Here you go.
See,
right here.
You got to play to your clientele, man.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the respectability circle.
It's important that Graham looks a little methy while he's up there in Carroll County.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think the hair tie will fly with some hospital administrators.
All right, so Alan, major comings and goings with the club here in the summer.
Is that better?
Honestly, not to go ahead, Graham. Go. What you got?
Is that better? That's all I'm asking.
There you go. Yeah, that's good.
Is that good? My old banana clip?
It looks like a 13-year-old girl.
I need one of those things I can tie my shirt like this.
On top of your head. But yeah, so not too much going on. Big coming and goings, obviously, Sandro Tonali, bringing him over from Italy. That's the big one. Harvey Barnes, kind of a straight swap, sending St. Max over to Saudi Arabia. I think personally an improvement, a massive improvement. He's already scored more goals than St. Max did in the last 2 years.
Well, and also Barnes does this thing which is called staying healthy and play matches, which St. Max just frankly never did.
Yeah. Just end product is really already, we could see it. So that's huge. And then Tino Livramento actually today was announced from Southampton, right back. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits in. I think the plan will be, because we sent Harrison Ashby out on loan. So I think the plan will be him and Trips probably making some swaps. And I think they both can play on the left or right. So we'll just kind of see how it fits in because the burn experiment's done. So, that's the big thing. And then going out, obviously St. Max, not huge there. Chris Wood, I guess, triggered whatever Nottingham Forest decided to fucking pay for him. That was a good idea. And then Carl Darlow, I think we sent to somebody for like a pittance.
Yeah.
We had way too many goalkeepers, and he was just the one on the chopping block. So not too much going on.
And Pope doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, man, Pope does not get hurt. Dubravka's not a bad backup.
Dubravka's good enough to start in this league.
Yeah.
And that's your backup. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, not complaining with that outing. So yeah, I think we're good. I'm nervous. We are probably not quite where we should be yet, in my opinion, but it is what it is. We'll figure it out. We trust in Eddie. That was last year, was clearly down to coaching. That's a lot of a team that was in the championship. That was a lot of a team that was struggling against relegation the year before, with some parts and pieces. I think Tonali was the big thing he wanted, to beef up the midfield. Obviously, we needed to give somebody in there to give Bruno a little bit of a break. I think they could both play the 6 and the 8. He played with a little double pivot in Philly. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Excellent. What is the overall expectation for you? Is it just try to win some kind of cup somewhere, have some good success, get a trophy? If it's Champions League or it's Europa, either or is good. Is that kind of the thought process?
That's, I think, what any pragmatic fan will tell you. That's what I would say. I would say, like, let's just try to finish top 5, 6 if I stretch it. But obviously, we've gotten to a place where we've set ourselves a standard that top 4 is what we want. So we're going to try and go get it. I think if we get to a cup final again, or at least make a good run, if we maybe can pull ourselves out of a group in Champions League, that's respectable enough for me. And then see where we go in the league. But like I said, if we could finish in Europe, like you mentioned, I think that's a success. And we just keep on building. I don't want to go crazy. I think we're doing it the right way. So we just keep on plugging away.
Excellent. And topic of plugs, plug away. Tell us anything and everything you want us to know.
Yeah, so if you're looking for the Toon Army Baltimore, we are the Mobtown Magpies on all your social media. You can type in either of those things and you'll find us on Twitter. You'll find us on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram yet because I don't got time. And then we also have my personal podcast, as Houston mentioned earlier. We are called The Middle Class Holes. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. We're at MDL Class Holes on Instagram and Twitter. We're The Middle Class Holes on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. And of course, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. The Middle Class Holes. Check us out.
If you
we're supposed to guest on the fucking show here soon.
Yeah, eventually we're going to get that figured out.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for about 18 months.
Done one of these days.
Yeah. If you like what we do, you will certainly like what the Middle Class Holes do. It's the same lowbrow, unintelligent humor that we are. You know,
especially that bloke with the hat. Who's he?
Really selling the show.
Just kidding. Just
Murr?
kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
He's a real salt of the earth kind of guy.
We are playing to our audience, producer Mel. When you say, "Ooh, you're really selling the show," yeah, we actually are. We're selling exactly to our audience.
Appreciate that, guys.
Well, fellow brother of the drip.
Yes, sir. Thank
Good
you,
to see
boys. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for your time, brother.
Hey, thanks for coming, man. Nice to meet you.
Love ya.
All right, Mr. Graham, you are up next.
Yes, I am, and I have the pleasure of Mel's almost new husband, Mark from Nottingham Forest. How's it going, my friend?
What up, guys? Yeah, first things first, Mal, you're my glitter in the air.
Oh, how you doing tonight, Mark?
I knew it was coming.
Good. I'm good.
Where are you calling in from now, Mark?
I'm in Colorado Springs, and I'm not at McDonald's. I'm actually in my home.
Oh, that's not far.
Okay, you just leave, woman.
It's different. It's just one airport away.
It'll make my life easier. It'll be
Right
fine.
Right fight. So I'm wearing my Lionesses shirt because of our amazing women in the quarterfinals of the Women's World Cup.
Yes.
Come on! But I do have my signed Ryan Yates Nottingham Forest shirt here as well.
There you go.
So,
Awesome. Perfect.
Look at that. So anyway, a little bit of housekeeping. Sam Graham with his sleeveless shirt and his tattoos and his manicured facial hair and his beautiful wavy mop.
Come on.
I mean, and then I see you bring up the vape. I'm like, you look like a Ken doll, dude. You're like artisanal Ken.
Artisanal Ken.
Oh.
All right, Christian, you know your assignment.
All right. Well, I do have to cut in there and just say,
bespoke Ken.
By the way, the guy who actually got their beard trimmed and manicured today would be me. I was at the salon today getting a trim.
A salon. My wife cut my hair in the kitchen, and I trimmed my beard, and then I shaved before I got here because I wanted to look good for the first show of the season.
You just you were in your Carroll County methness.
Hey, Graham.
It's just because it got very dry in here, and I'm all frizzy now.
Hey, Graham. This is the 4th show of the season.
Oh,
you
sorry.
did 3 getting to know yous.
That's still preseason, man.
No, I'm drinking. You can't see that, but I'm drinking 291, actually distilled here in Colorado Springs. It is a bourbon whiskey. It's a double gold winner of the World Spirits Competition, so it's a good drink.
I like whiskey.
Lovely.
That's awesome. I also love briefly. I also love that
Fabulous.
The guest is now driving the bus.
Well, it's
fucking brilliant.
Mark's a fucking professional. He knows what he's doing, and he already won over the charm of the producer. He gets him with that British charm, and she's like, well, let him fucking do whatever he wants.
That fucking riveting interview from the McDonald's parking lot. I remember it vividly. I remember it vividly. So what's going on this summer? Obviously, not as many incomings as last year. I don't think that's possible.
So
I'm pretty sure.
Did you guys hear the chant at Palace last year? So our last game of the season, our away game at Palace, Forest fans came up with this amazing chant, which is 30 fans, we don't give a fuck. No, 30 signings, don't give a fuck. It was fantastic. This season, it's almost zero signings. So we do have a couple to talk about, but first thing I want to point out is that Forest, sadly, have no natural rivals in the EPL this year. There's no Derby. There's now no Leicester. And, of course, our most deadly rival, Southampton.
There's no more tree rivalry.
The Arbor.
The fucking Arbor rivalry. It's gone.
Expelled. But we do have Sheffield United, who geographically are very close and who we detest.
Oh, excellent.
Perfect.
Just Google Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United, and the whole history will be laid out there before you. This last season, Forest came in at 16th. Rather confusing me. I think Everton, there were some folks at Everton who didn't get the memo, didn't realize that the Everton Cup was 7th, not 17th.
Oh, I know. I'm very aware of that. We're calling this the dark times.
Above Everton this year, which was very, very exciting for us. And in terms of goals for this coming season, and I'm being serious now, I feel like there are a good half dozen teams that are worse than Forest out the gate. I think the 3 promoted teams are all going to struggle significantly this year, and it could be one of those seasons where all 3 that come up go back down. I think Bournemouth are going to struggle. I don't know what they're doing in terms of their managerial changes. Sorry, Sam, but Everton are on the ropes.
Oh, I know we're there.
Yeah. And Wolves are a dumpster fire in a train wreck in a car crash. It's just... that club is spiraling like crazy. Fulham and Palace, I think, also on the fringes as well. So I'm going to go big here and say Forest came in 16th last year. We are going to rocket up the league this year and secure our spot at 15th.
Well, here's the thing you got to say with Forest is that, there were a ton of signings, but there was a commitment to the manager. There was a commitment to the way they were going to play.
Yeah,
they
fair.
finally found their guys. They got rid of the players that weren't going to be a part of this system moving forward. Then
the owners fucked them again in January, mind you, and they went on another slide, and then Steve Koppel brought it back together again.
Yeah. So I feel like they've got a good unified crew that knows what they're doing under a manager, and they know it's hard to say this for a team that's newly promoted, but they feel very comfortably safe, in my opinion. They just feel like a 11th to 13th place team. They just feel like that's how they feel to me,
Yeah. I mean, the preseason has been underwhelming. Forest have played 7 matches. They've only won 2 of them. One of them was against newly promoted from non-league Notts County. They won another match as well. Then they drew 1 and they've lost 4. And in that time, over that span of 7 games, they've only scored 3 goals, which is a concern. But then when you look at Forest's front line, you've got Morgan Gibbs-White, who's been phenomenal this past year. You've got Brennan Johnson, who's just coming back from injury. You've got Akinwe, who's also injured right now and is touch and go for making the opening game against Arsenal. And then in terms of new signings, we've had Alanga come in from Manchester United, who I think has a lot of upside. What he showed for Man United this last year, he looked impressive. I'm kind of surprised that Man United were prepared to sell him. And you think that probably would suggest that they had bigger plans and maybe a Harry Kane type signing, and that hasn't happened yet. But we're certainly happy to have Alanga in the mix up front as well. Of course, we brought in Matt Turner from Arsenal. Thank you very, very much for that, Sam Graham.
You're absolutely right.
He's a good goalkeeper, but looks like he may end up being number 2 because the word on the street is that Forest are not done with Dean Henderson. So if we can get him in from Manchester United, he'll be our number 1 with a very strong Matt Turner then as a backup in number 2.
I was going to say, be ready to actually shoot up the league, because the last Premier League rival that we've sold a goalkeeper to now finds himself in Europe. So Just be ready for that. And you're welcome in advance.
Oh, yeah. Other teams know how to deal with your players pretty well.
He won a cup in my team. Thank you very much.
A trophy.
The only other signing of note was Aina from Torino, who's a Nigerian international. Right back, we actually got him for free. He has Premier League experience as well, so that was a good pickup, and he actually showed well in the friendlies. In terms of outgoings, as you guys well know, Sammy Sturridge, the SS, went off to Nashville. Very sad to see the back of him, but I think he'll rip up MLS, maybe not to Messi levels, but he won't struggle to score goals out here in the States. Of course, Lingard has gone, and with him, TikTok. And Lodi, the Brazilian international, as well, signed for Atletico Madrid. The only other outgoings of any note, Navas, who, of course, was on loan from PSG, has returned to his parent club. And then Briano Hayda and Ricky Larea, again, also returning to MLS, RSL and Vancouver, respectively. So not too much in terms of outgoings. As you mentioned earlier, Sam Forest established their base this last year. And then by sticking with Steve Cooper, were able to finesse that roster and get to a point where they had their group, they had their rhythm, and they were able to finish the season strong. Thank you so much, Arsenal. Appreciate those 3 points at the end of the season.
You're welcome.
So looking forward to this year.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we covered it in that a bit. You 15th you think is really a realistic, or 13th, 12th, 11th? Do you think you have the means to really step up into that sort of territory? Maybe if somebody's faltering like a Brentford without Ivan Toney, maybe taking their spot, 8th, 9th kind of range, or is that beyond you think?
Yeah, so a couple of things concern me. One is not depth, but quality at centre-back. We have centre-backs coming out of the yin-yang. We don't really have centre-backs of quality. Felipe is injured right now, and he was undoubtedly our best centre-back this last year. And he's not getting any younger. He's just getting on for his mid-30s. And so we need to bolster that area of the field. That concerns me, particularly with the start we have. We faced Arsenal, we faced Manchester United. We have another of the big guns as well in the first 4 or 5 games. So it's a tough start. And as I mentioned, goals seem to be tough to come by right now. But I'm also keeping my powder dry on that because we had 2 of our 3 starting forwards out injured right now.
Yeah, as well.
So could Forest make a push for 11th, 12th, 13th? Yeah, absolutely. Would I be perfectly happy if they strolled in at 15th? I would be delirious.
I gotcha. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Is there anything you want to promote, my friend? Plug away.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of cool things. Well, I have one necessary thing and one really cool thing. The necessary thing is, hey, I'm on Twitter. Follow me if you want. I'm under Turner Talk Footy. There you go. Okay, here's the cool thing. So Nottingham Forest, North American Supporters Group, which on Twitter is NFFCNA, are having a meetup. We have an annual meetup. Of course, we got stymied for COVID for a couple of years, but our annual meetup is backed. We're actually meeting in Chicago on September the 29th through October the 1st. All the information can be found on Twitter, NFFCNA. 3 days of debauchery, of watching Premier League football, and God only knows what else. If you're a Forest fan, you've got to be there. If you're just a curious individual who likes to go out and get lashed up with other like-minded football fans, you're welcome.
Mark, there's something very important you need to know there. Very, very important. Do not put ketchup on a fucking hot dog there. You will get hurt. You will get hurt fucking proper. That is something you need to know.
Are we talking about Chicago?
Yes, we are. We are talking about Chicago.
It's illegal there, dude. Don't do it. And the cops will kick you on your way out.
Yeah, Simon's a lawyer. He knows.
I'm assuming we're talking literal, no ketchup on a hot dog. You're not talking euphemistically there about hot dog.
No ketchup on a hot dog.
Like literally, don't do it.
It's bad news.
If you get a chance for a cuisine, definitely make sure you have a Chicago dog. It's got everything in the kitchen sink on it except for ketchup, because fuck ketchup. But it's I'm a man of the hot dog, as most of you know. I was going to say I'm the man of a weenie. I'm the man of the weenie.
Hot dogs are responsible for 2 out of 3 stents.
Yeah, definitely. 2 out of 3 stents of the old Widowmaker. Definitely. Hot dogs and hot dogs.
Funnily, not a euphemism either.
Yeah.
Turn off my mic. I want to say congratulations, guys, on making it to the 300. Seriously. I mean, from my heart, I want to say I have no fucking clue how you did that.
Me neither. Nicole does have a question.
Okay,
Villanista
excellent.
Nicole Thompson is watching us on YouTube, and she would like to know, Mark, will Dean Henderson be there?
And that's he said potentially
He tuned
yes.
in late, I guess. Nicole did.
I think she just wants to make sure she heard that correctly.
The issue with Dino is he's not recovered from his injury, and so that's definitely put a fly in the ointment. Initially, Forest were gung ho for purchasing him, and then it became a loan conversation with a commitment to purchase. I still think that's going to happen, and I think it's going to happen within this transfer window. Henderson has made no bones about the fact he wants to be back at the City ground. So I hope so. I think Matt Turner's a great goalkeeper, and I'm so excited that for the first time in over 40 years of supporting this team, I actually get to have a Forest shirt with my own name on the back of it. That's awesome.
Brilliant.
But if we can bring Hendo in, he'd be our number one, and I know that we're still hoping that's going to happen.
Follow-up question, does he need massages?
Nicole.
Me or Hendo?
Hendo. Nicole really has
Nicole's
a thing
really
for.
into Hendo, but if it's
Go
on the
back to my
table,
Twitter handle, Turner Talk Footy.
I mean, if you and Hendo want to get massages and Cole and I fly out, we can, Villanista meet up.
It just
Jesus fucking Christ. You can call that a Chicago handshake.
Alrighty, moving on, because Danny is such a fucking trooper. We've got two more teams to talk about him before him, and good news.
3, actually.
Oh, okay. No, 2. Oh, yeah, 3 that's right. All 3 of them, nobody's fucking here.
Yeah, so these will be quick.
Graham, why don't you go ahead on about Sheffield United?
They played in the championship last season.
Yeah, that was the comprehensive breakdown that we got from Nick on our Getting to Know You show. So tell us about how it was in championship. So we played in the championship last season.
Yeah.
You don't fucking say.
Obviously, they lost their emotional kind of leader in Billy Sharp to Bradford. But they've brought in Austin Trusty from Arsenal, Benny Traore from Hacken, Yasser Larouchi on loan from Troyes in France, Ani Ben Slimane from Brøndby, and he only mentioned this guy purely because of his name, so watch out for him.
Heard.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Okay.
Brilliant.
That's what he typed to you, right?
Yep. So yeah, Sheffield United, I think they're going to struggle, to be honest with you.
Yep, agreed.
I don't see a lot of super quality being brought in. I think they're in a better state mentally than they were when they left the Premier League last time. Obviously, they seemed to give up, and we got kind of bored of them, to be honest. Aaron Ramsdale seemed to be the only person trying at that point in time. Yeah. And it almost caught the Ben Foster curse, really, where he would be the goalkeeper that gave up the most goals in the league, but he also had the most saves because nobody else in the field gave a shit.
Right, precisely.
So they're in a weird spot again. They did do very well in the championship, and they may get some points early on just as a bit of a surprise package. But I don't think that'll last, and I think they'll plummet down the league pretty quickly after the first 4 or 5 weeks. To be completely honest,
agree. All right, so moving on to Tottenham. If you didn't notice, there weren't a bunch of cut-ins of random darling what's for dinners because Mark isn't on.
I have been sending him messages on Facebook, and he's been reading them and not replying.
There's some. So Jay's not the only person with a son pent up with a leg issue. Mark's son fell down the stairs and tore every ligament in his knee.
Oh,
so
God.
they've been in the hospital for about 4 days. They just got released yesterday. He's got a lot going on.
So he's home.
He's home. He's got a lot going on. But the Mike Smith, as he is known on Facebook, the Smith men don't have a lot of luck with their legs. Let's say that's a dark joke.
That's terrible.
Tottenham, it all comes down to, do they keep Kane? Do they keep Kane? What is that going to mean for them? Does Richarlison get a run? Maybe.
Now, I did text Mark about that, and he says, sell him. Get the fucking money while we can so we can reinvest it if Levy will actually loosen the purse string. And that seems to be the couple of Tottenham fans I know. That seems to be the sentiment. Fucking sell him.
Yeah, agreed.
Get the money. Because he's going to leave for free next summer.
Yeah.
Easy.
Exactly.
Liverpool, that could be Mbappe from Wish. Harry Kane.
I honestly could see Tottenham pulling at Chelsea and being on the bottom half of the table. I don't think there's a lot of depth. I don't think there's some really great standout players on that team, but there's just I don't know where it's going to happen and how it's all going to come together when you have an ownership group that just constantly puts the handcuffs on their team.
They did bring in James Maddison, which will provide them some creativity and some kind of dynamism.
Which they sorely missed in the middle of the pitch.
He can play the 10 role. Obviously, that's his best position. He can play out wide. He can play as a false 9 if necessary. And Postecoglou is a good coach. So we'll see what they do. But I just, the rest of the side, they haven't really brought in anybody of note that's going to help them, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I really just don't see it defensively.
They're a mess defensively. They don't.
It's just, that's not going to be great. And you can't win every game 4-3. It doesn't work that way.
No. Perfect. And now, moving on, we have one of my personal favorite portions of the program because it's not going to be optimistic Smokey. It's going to be the world is coming to a fucking end Smokey, which is my personal favorite. He has communicated with producer Mel and has sent his manifesto because typically he does not do well with internet in lovely Arizona. But producer Mel, please read the manifesto of West Ham United this season.
He says, first of all, tell Graham that the sun got to me. And so here is short and stupid from Smokey. Heading into the Bournemouth match this Saturday, West Ham has done so much after winning their first trophy in 40 years. We've lost 2 coaches. Neither have been replaced. We've lost Lazinski, Makasui, Vasek, Samaka, and the big one that we've known about, Rice. Now, what's been done to fill these holes? Nothing! Nothing!
Excuse me. They've signed Sean Moore from Cliftonville on an undisclosed fee. Who the fuck is that guy?
That's going to solve everything.
Nothing. No one wants to come and no one wants to stay. Expectations for the season? I don't have many. I don't know where this club is headed or what it wants to do.
Dildo land.
I honestly think especially because they're going to be playing Europe as well. I'm not sold that this team, I think they're right in the thick of the relegation battle.
100% they are.
And Moyes can only do so much with so little, and that team is destitute. It's like you look at Everton, you go, at least they signed 3 fucking people.
Yep.
You're just looking at what West Ham's done, and you're like, they've done nothing. They've lost a bunch. As we're about to come on to Wolves, it's like it's a good starting lineup, but what happens if somebody gets hurt? What happens if anyone gets hurt?
In 2 players, they've made 132.5 million and signed someone from Cliftonville.
Yeah.
Mel, if you would do me a quick favor and do a cursory Google search for Cliftonville Football Club, and just tell me what league they reside in, because I don't fucking know. I've never heard of them.
I've never heard of them either.
I mean, it may as well be AFC Richmond for as far as I fucking know. They could have signed Danny fucking Rojas at this stage. It sounds made up.
The NIFL Premiership and
the
June
Northern Ireland
29th,
Football League.
They just kicked the ass of St. Patrick's Athletic. 1-0.
Fucking quality that. You know what? West Ham winning the league.
Should have signed one of the fucking Dairy Girls,
Jesus
for fuck's sake.
fucking Christ.
Hey, God.
Nate.
Boys and girls,
terrible.
It has taken us 2 hours, but we have gotten to the end. And
the chats are obsessed with Danny because they said he has been enduring jokes for hours.
Oh, yeah.
And just sitting there smiling through all of it.
Yeah, Danny, you have endured a lot, but also Danny has come proper with the shit talking in the like. I'm not able to read off all the Zoom stuff, but honestly, you guys, for real, y'all were fucking magnificent tonight in the Zoom chat. But
the chat was on fire tonight. It was absolutely brilliant. Danny was right at the crux of that.
Danny, just for you, real quick, I made a very special bottling of Malort. It says Wolves Blend on it for you, as per the conversation
Good.
from Twitter today amongst all of us. I don't say this jokingly. I say this in all honesty, and I guarantee you're going to probably feel the same. If it wasn't for Everton being a shit show, all eyes would be on the fact that Wolves have done nothing but sell. And then today, as we are talking, they've pissed off a world-class coach so much he just said, no.
What's today, by the way, Sam?
Today is Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday. When does the league start, Sam?
Friday.
Oh, brilliant.
Friday.
This is Real Madrid all over again.
Well, they play on Monday. They play on
Spain,
Monday.
Rather.
That's okay. We
got
play
the
on
weekend.
Monday.
They play on Monday.
You got an extra 2 days.
Plenty
You're
of
fine.
time.
Don't worry about it.
Danny, it seemed like, the season last year started horribly. You get Lopetegui in. There's an investment in the club from ownership. You find a way to stay up, but it seemed like it's going in the right direction. We're unloading some older players. We're refilling with younger. We're going to be okay. And then this summer, it was just like, you know what? Young players, let's sell them too. Fuck it. Let's get rid of everybody.
Why, yes, Sam. I am drinking tonight. The drink of choice tonight is the finest soju from South Korea, chumcharum, which I've been having all night. In addition, because I thought that you might bring up the Malort issue, I have this lovely liqueur, which is like Malort. It's from Leatherby in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Besk, and it's a Malort-inspired liqueur that is 50 proof. And pretty disgusting. They describe it as violently bitter. So I'm going to go ahead with that.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I had one in St. Charles that they made one at a brewery. Oh, yeah. It's that good, huh, Danny?
let me tell you something.
Yeah, it's great.
If someone from Chicago describes something as violent, that's bad. If you're not from here and you're trying to figure out what the U.S. is like, Chirac is real. Okay? And fucking hell. That's not a good
yes,
endorsement.
I see the comments in the chat that I am wearing a tie. I figured this would also be an interview for being the new manager of Wolves. So I showed up to put my best foot forward.
Danny, you've got there's the chat for the live stream, and you've got like fans. Minnesota Todd, free Danny. Tim Klappick, so proud of you, Danny. Nicole Thompson, Danny is king. Facebook user, sorry, Graham. Danny's hair is glorious and beats the full pawn.
Nothing beats full pound. I'll tell you
and then
that right
Keith
now.
Kern, wow, you guys are still going?
Yes, we are. We
shout
absolutely
out,
are.
Shout out to Todd. We're supposed to open a brewery together. Unfortunately, lives in another state. Shout out to Tim. We watch Wolves together sometimes down in Canton. But anyway, to answer your question, Sam, no one knows what the fuck is going on.
I love this show is so bright. I love doing this 20 supporters show. We've been 2.5 hours we've been going at this for him to say, I don't fucking know. No fucking idea. Good luck. Good luck.
This
is fantastic.
So, Danny, there was obviously I said it was the big purging of players, and some of them it made sense. It was time to move on. Certainly, some players you didn't want to see go, but it was time, right? And then you just start seeing Nathan Collins isn't the best defender in the world, but he's fucking young, and I don't know. He adds depth because right now you currently have 2 center backs. God forbid one gets hurt. Kind of in trouble.
But he was decent as well. I mean, when he played a couple times last season, he was decent. Nathan Collins, he wasn't terrible.
Sold him. It's just it's making no sense.
And he karate kicked Jack Grealish, which is always worth something.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
So, kind of talk about what's going on with the transfers right now, Danny.
Right. So on the positive side, I will say that people keep seeing the shedding of players as this huge negative. But we should say that the team had gotten pretty bloated after January. Obviously, alarm bells were ringing, pumped a bunch of money in, way too much money maybe, and bought 6 players without sending any out. And if we're being honest, the team was already a little bloated before then, with players who were struggling, like Raul Jimenez, who I love dearly, but also scored 0 goals last year.
Yeah.
So the number of players that have left, not super alarming to me. However,
you bring up Nathan Collins, good example, where it seems like that was very much one where it was just like, well, we have other center backs, not just two. We've got another couple that can play there. That's fine. And we're looking at bringing in someone cheaper, and he's not Lopetegui's man. So we'll make a very small profit sending him to Brentford. Fine. Not a lot of people weren't thrilled because he's young, and I think he can improve a lot. He will be sold for more later, but it seemed fine because Lopetegui just wasn't interested in him. Whatever. Well, now Lopetegui is gone, and maybe whoever comes in after him might appreciate having Nathan Collins. I don't know. I'm not a football manager, but maybe if Wolves are looking for someone, I could be.
Hence the tie. That's it.
There's not been a lot of signings. So what do you think you need, and do you think there's going to be anything done before the transfer window's done?
Yes, let's run through our signings. So we have brought in for free Matt Doherty, who used to play for us and also used to play for Tottenham, and was released there for free, mostly because they fucked up on some paperwork, which I don't quite understand.
Nice.
We bought him previously from a team in Ireland for £75,000, which is probably the best return on investment you've ever gotten. He's actually looked really good in preseason, surprisingly, and people are actually kind of excited about him. He might be our best finisher at the club, so that's great.
Isn't he a right back?
Yes.
The best finisher at the club is a right back.
Do you know how many goals we scored last season?
Yeah, to 12 or something.
Fuck's sake. We've also brought in for free a third choice goalkeeper who is named Tom King. He is a Guinness World Records holder for the longest goal ever scored. He took a goal kick and placed it inside of the 6-yard box, and it ended up going in, which equates to whatever, 96.01 yards or something. So
he'll be second in the team
maybe
in
he'll
scoring.
score a goal. That'd be good.
Allison, eat your heart out.
But actually, in terms of the squad overall, I will say that if you had asked me if we had recorded on Saturday, this would be dated instantly when Lopetegui left, because we all felt extremely positive because we had just played Rennes in a friendly. They had smacked Forest 5-0. And we felt like that was going to be a tough test. We won 3-1, and the players that we are looking to come back are looking sharp. Our attacking is much more flowing, which it has not been in 3 years. So players like Fabio Silva coming back from loan, Sasha Kalajdzic, who came back from a horrible freak injury from his first game with Wolves last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Players are being integrated, and it all looks great. And I would have said, we're probably going to finish 10th. That'd be great. But now, no one fucking knows. Apparently, the favorite to replace Lopetegui is Gary O'Neill, formerly of Bournemouth, formerly of, I don't know, I think he was a player before that. I have no idea what his background is. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page. He's not one of the most famous Garys on Wikipedia. all the most famous O'Neills, he doesn't appear on that list. So I don't know anything about him.
Then, with all that being said, what do you think? What is your expectation for the team? Is it just figure out a way to fucking stay up and reset next year, or find some pieces over January? I mean,
their plan is the Everton plan.
I mean, because I put you right with us as in legit trouble.
I think, for anybody who's getting into the Premier League this year, which maybe they're listening to this podcast, this is going to be a real dice roll. This isn't like a team that's been newly promoted and it's like, well, they signed a bunch of players. Who knows if they can all gel? I would say that like the core of the team, which includes the starting 11 and actually a better bench than we started with last year, is quite good. It's like arguably top half quality. And we probably needed 2 to 3 more signings to solidify that. And a coach who could put it all together. But now we don't have that coach. And so it could go a million different ways. I think that we could surprise a lot of people. People will say that we were a complete disaster going into the season and we end up being fine. Or we could be what everybody thinks we will be, which is a complete disaster throughout the entire season and get relegated. And again, nobody fucking knows right now.
So there's two things at play here, obviously. That core of the team is quite good, to be honest. However, the best player on that field for the last 2 seasons, Ruben Neves, took the Saudi money.
Yeah.
And I'll give him credit. He was honest about it. My grandchildren's grandchildren won't have to work again. Fine. I get that. I understand that. You come from a place where you're playing fucking football in the street with no shoes on, and somebody offers you essentially 700 million quid. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah,
I understand that. I got a fucking price.
Right.
Okay. I'll be the next Skip Bayless for the right paycheck. Okay. All right. My point is, it's a little different when you look at somebody like Jordan Henderson, who has been a champion for the LGBTQ plus community that took the Saudi money. Now, fair dues to him. He hasn't had the chance yet. If he donates 75% of his paycheck to fucking, further those causes.
Stonewall UK.
Fine. Go for it.
Right.
Whatever. Take their money and donate to the things they hate. Okay. I can kind of at least understand that a little bit. But I'm not even fucking reading that, mate. All right. Because I imagine it said something like "my price is a good barber" or something. But that was the best player for Wolves for the last few years. Now, the one thing you do have going for you have something very niche in common with Spain, and that is they did make it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup 3 days after Lopetegui left them. So maybe there is a League Cup final in your future. There could be some sort of run that you go on, because teams that Lopetegui leaves out of the blue do well, apparently.
All right. So
that's right.
Danny, please plug away everything. Since I'm sure Paul's like on a good jog or whatever, go ahead and plug his show. And no, but please tell us everything Wolves. And I've got one thing to add once you're done with that about you personally that I want to make sure everybody knows. So please go ahead and shoot away.
Great. I sat through this entire podcast, so I'm going to plug virtually everything.
Fuck yeah. Go for it.
If you're into Wolves or interested in getting into the weird dice roll this season that might be Wolves, you should check out Wolves USA on Facebook. Obviously, you should check out the very good podcast that I am a frequent contributor to, the Whole Lot of Wolves podcast. You mentioned Paul LePage, also Joshua Buckley. They do an amazing job. They also are organizing a supporter get-together later in the season, probably in the spring, called Tex Fest. They're both in Houston.
And in addition, friends of the show as well. We've been on their show previewing our clubs. They're an excellent show.
That's right.
Love them guys. They're awesome stuff.
Moving on, we have Faux Sundays, which is in New York City. They occasionally watch a game outside of the Fosun headquarters. They are corporate overlords at Wolves. And if you show up for the Brighton game on August 19th, you'll be able to watch outside at 28 Liberty Plaza. You also might be part of a violent protest, depending on what happens with those first couple games. I also want to plug a favorite of mine, the Wolves Women Pod. They are great fans who do a really good rundown of the women's team. It's a third-tier women's team, and it's tough to be just a supporter-run, totally volunteer-run pod for lower-level women's club in the UK. And, of course, check out me at Baltimore Wolves on Twitter and Facebook. Also, we sometimes make it down to Clada in Canton, which is a great spot. Or if it's a midweek game, sometimes at Mel's in Hamden, which is also an amazing spot.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, that is what I wanted to mention is, please, everybody do yourself a favor. Go follow the Baltimore Wolves. Because about 2 or 3 times this season when they actually win a game, Danny get drunk. And Danny takes you out all day long and shows you pictures of all the shit he'd been drinking. And Danny goes strong. It is a fantastic follow when they win.
We have to get Danny down for the whiskey show.
Hey, Danny.
Oh, absolutely.
Any interest in a friendly Villa Wolves watch time?
Always, anytime. Reach out to me.
I'll come watch. I'll go
Excellent.
into the enemy's territory.
That'd be
Lannisters
fabulous.
versus the Starks again.
Perfect. Well, Danny, thank you.
Of course, this is after Ned had his head chopped off because they have no manager right now.
Yeah, we're at the end of season 1. And everyone's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
So this is when Littlefinger's in charge or whatever. Littlefoot. What is it?
Littlefinger.
Oh,
Yeah, Lannisters are looking
Sorry, Littlefoot
really...
was Land Before Time.
Yes.
Also, surprisingly, speaks to Wolves' history.
All right. So, Danny, thank you again very, very much. That is going to wrap it up. We did it.
Again,
it's
we
another
did it
year.
again.
Can I give
Fucking
huge
3-hour
props to
fucking
Simon
show.
being first and hanging out the entire
Fucking
time?
rock star.
Simon and Danny bookending the thing, and they're the only two fuckers.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, Mark's here. God damn it.
All right. So, Mr. Graham, that is going to wrap it up. Any parting words?
I'm too tired for it, honestly. I don't know.
We still got 2 more fucking
I
shows
know.
to
We
record.
still have 2 shows
We're
to
at
record because we're
2
goddamn
hours
professionals.
and 40 minutes into this.
I think we've gone more than long enough. This has been the typical DU 20 for 20
though.
shit show.
It's been a joy.
It's exactly what we want it to be, and this is kind of what we're looking for everybody is to let's preview the season, but let's preview it right with the supporters of the clubs that they love and have fun with it. And everybody busting balls and the whole nine. It is what I fucking live for. Absolutely live for. Yes, you're right that that Malort stuff, Danny, does taste like earwax. Now if it was Malort, it would then have a mild throw up bile in your throat after you. So it's like earwax threw up, as I always describe it. Next up, we've got a couple of things. First, we're going to have injury time, where we chat about the beers we've been drinking. We're going to check in on our fantasy leagues that are getting ready to get started.
Yes.
And our one adopted club. And we preview the weekend's action. Sam, how does one find injury time?
That's easy. It's patreon.com/DU Football Show. Sign up to that $5 tier, and you get all of our extra content. That's sound check, our actual sound check, where we catch up on just personal shit from the weekend while Mel tests our levels. And then injury time, which is our preview of the weekend's action, and look forward to the beers and our, as you say, our adopted clubs. Accrington, Stanley. Oh no, they're not in there anymore. It's just Ibs now.
Ibs.
It's just Ibs
It's just the Ibs.
because Sam, I was trying to provide you a segue for the next thing that's coming out.
And we're also starting a new show because we realize we run way too long doing this one and we run way too long doing injury time. We decided we are now going to cover the rest of the leagues for the EFL. And we're going to do an EFL recap every single week where we talk about Championship, League One, and League Two, which is a lot of our, quote, adopted clubs. And also there's a lot of former Premier League clubs that are worth making sure we mention. Just a quick recap to talk about that and kind of keep listeners that might not no longer be in the Prem still interested in wanting to hear what we have to say.
Especially when they might be Patreon supporters. And we care about that $5 a month.
Exactly. And if you'd like to support the show besides our lovely Patreon, you can also go to our Drip Shack where we have all the fly gear.
Yep.
Lots of fun stuff, pint glasses, shirts, all kinds of logoed stuff, and that is a great way to support the show.
New shirt alert. In a world full of arseholes, be more Fulhamish.
Yep. And everybody, thank you very much for the marathon and all the work that you all put in today. This has been a phenomenal show. And hey, Graham, next week the Prem starts.
Goddamn right it does.
Oh my God, 298 episodes.
So excited.
So till next week, everybody.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right day, the fucking Gooner Graham. Smells of a lord. Looks great in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Brooklyn United! Brooklyn United! Hit the fucking mute button!